We have a capacity crowd at the Seattle Center Coliseum as CBS Sports welcomes you to the 1987 NBA playoffs. Game 6 of the best-of-7 West semifinal between the Houston Rockets and the Seattle Supersonics. The Los Angeles Lakers are already waiting for the survivor of this series in the Western Finals. And Seattle can get there with a victory tonight before their home crowd. And good evening, everyone. I'm Dick Stockton along with Tom Heinsohn. One of the great stories in the NBA playoffs have been the Seattle Supersonics. They have been the giant killers, Tommy. They knocked off highly touted Dallas and now have a 3-2 lead against Houston, the defending champions in the West. I guess the Sonics are no fluke.
They certainly are not, Dick. And what has really happened is they've banded together, they've learned their roles, and Bernie Bickerstaff is using 12 players. Their enthusiasm, their foul situations. He's got mucho fouls to use, and they've really contained Houston admirably.
Now the Sonics have a 3-2 lead. How do they get that lead against the Rockets, and what does Houston have to do tonight?
They've used those fouls so well, particularly in the backcourt, to really put a test on Level in the backcourt. Alan Level has been having to play like Magic Johnson did a couple of years ago. Push that ball up the court. Tough job for him. And they've also controlled the offensive glass. The Sonic situation has been great in that department.
McRae, Sampson, Olajuwon, Level, and Reed, the starting five for Houston under Bill Fitch. Tom Chambers, Xavier McDaniel, and Dale Ellis all averaged over 20 points a game. Alton Lister and rookie Nate McMillan in the backcourt. Bernie Bickerstaff in his second year. This is the way the series has gone. The Sonics won the first 2 games in Houston, and the team split the 2 games played earlier in Seattle. So the Twin Towers, who last year shocked the Lakers in 5 games to go to the NBA Finals, and now they're fighting for their lives here in game number 6 against the upstart Sonics, who had a losing record in regular season with a 39-43 record. But as Bernie Bickerstaff told us, Tommy, this team only started coming together when postseason began. The officials tonight are Ed Rush and Hugh Evans, and the alternate is Hugh Hollins. And after a problem with the clock, the teams are ready to go.
Dick, the Houston Rockets have to get their vaunted fast break in action tonight. The Sonics have been very, very successful at stopping the quick thrust up the court of the Rockets. They've got to get some easy baskets to go along with that power inside game that they like to use.
Seattle is in white, the Rockets in red. Alton Lister will jump against Akeem Olajuwon. And now Sampson steps in. Sampson and Lister will jump center, and we're underway. Game number 6. And if there is a 7th game, it'll be Saturday afternoon in Houston.
We're going to talk defense now. What the Sonics have to do is really contain the inside game in the half-court sets that the Rockets like to use and force the Rockets to the outside games just like that, Dick.
But Robert Reed has been struggling, as has Level been from the outside. But he hit the first shot of the game. And now Houston defensively.
They've got to stop the big 3. They've been able to shut off one of the real 20-point scorers, Chambers, Ellis, and McDaniel.
So Chambers ties it up. 3 big guns for the Sonics offensively. Gambling for the steal is Nate McMillan. McRae, and an offensive foul called against Rodney McRae.
Offensive foul on the Rockets by McRae, his first, and the first team.
The game clock, as we mentioned, is not working, and so they are using a stopwatch for the time as we get underway. And the rookie Nate McMillan out of North Carolina State, the 30th pick in the draft, and the only rookie on the team with 9 new faces. Chambers to Ellis inside. And that was a pass to Ellis, not a shot by Chambers, I think.
I think it was a rebound, Dick. But they've been killing the Rockets on that end of the court rebound-wise.
Olajuwon with an offensive rebound and a foul.
They have been very effective in this series. Offensive rebound. Ellis just gets great position on McRae and then takes it to the reverse side, left-handed to make that shot. But Ellis at the guard spot gives them an extra rebound.
Here's Akeem Olajuwon with the foul on Alton Lister, and Olajuwon gives Houston their biggest edge at the center position against Lister. But Akeem has been stymied a lot by the Sonics defense.
What they've been doing to Akeem is throwing all kinds of defenses at him. Really saying to him, you must have the experience of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in order to solve what you're supposed to do. He doesn't have that experience.
Level is guarding McMillan. Xavier McDaniel is out on the perimeter. Ellis knocked the ball away at his last touch by Reed. The Sonics have shot under 50% in every game against the Rockets, but they have taken 16 more shots a game than Houston, and that's been one of the reasons for their success. Dale Ellis that time, and he's red hot from the outside.
They are not afraid to shoot from the outside. Chambers, Ellis, McDaniel.
And an offensive foul called away from the ball against Ralph Sampson, and Bill Fitch is off the bench and arguing with Hugh Holland.
That's one of his concerns. Olajuwon and Sampson cannot get in foul trouble.
And Sampson, a tough job guarding Chambers. Olajuwon gambled for the steal, and Level knocked it out of bounds. So Sampson with a tough task against Tom Chambers, who had a playoff career high of 38 points in the fourth game of the series.
Chambers is one of the more difficult power forwards to play because he can go outside, hit that shot, and blow by anybody on the dribble.
Ellis. It's a tough shot with a defender on his elbow, and the Sonics lead by 4, and Dale is 3 for 3. Akeem misses, and the rebound by McMillan. Double on Chambers for the moment. Denying inside is Olajuwon. Lister in good position. He can't make it work. And Robert Reed the rebound. And that's how Seattle is stymied the fast break.
They're smothering the rebounder.
Reed misses inside. Sampson under the hoop. Ellis. 4 on 2 for Seattle, and Ellis slows it up. And the Rockets get the ball back on a turnover by McMillan. And Level is fouled by Nate McMillan.
If you are Robert Reed, you are really experiencing a tough series because you are running up against a lot of people. Look at the picks. I got to shuck people just to get out his shooting hand. He's being delayed 1 and 2 and 3 counts before he can get to Ellis, and that's much too much time to allow Ellis to get the shot off.
Here's Alan Level, who is shooting a miserable 28% from the field after an impressive series against Portland, where he averaged 20 a game.
They are putting him under extreme pressure in the backcourt. He cannot take a step without a defender being on him and in his jersey and with their hands on him.
This crowd is up several decibels here. And they know that the Sonics can wrap up this semifinal and go against the Lakers with a win. Ellis with a good feed inside from McMillan is fouled. Robert Reed was in there.
The foul is on Robert Reed.
Ellis likes to make a living down on the baseline. He uses picks, but every once in a while he'll reverse, particularly if you don't know where the ball is. And he's very good down there, putting the ball up close to the basket.
And you're looking at the most super of the Sonics. He failed to score at least 21 points in only 1 game of postseason, and he burned his former team, the Dallas Mavericks. And you want to have a hot hand, take a look at these numbers from Dale Ellis.
He's really put the spectacular into the Sonics. A superstar that has been unstoppable, and you just don't know how to play him.
Seattle 10-5. We still do not have an official time here in this first period.
Little pressure defense to make them slow the ball up in the backcourt.
Olajuwon with a fall away. And a jump ball, McDaniel and Sampson. But the Seattle defense forced Olajuwon to take a bad shot there.
Olajuwon, when he fades away, is really taking himself off the rebound on a miss. And they will settle for that all night long, the Sonics.
Olajuwon and Lister trying to jockey for position for the jump ball between Xavier McDaniel and 7'4" Ralph Sampson.
McDaniel stole the tactic. He just jumped before the ball was really released. He was afraid that Sampson was going to control it.
There's the shooting, and Houston has hit only 1 of 6 from the field to fall behind 10-5. They double quickly on Olajuwon. Level drives the baseline. Akeem loses it out of bounds. It's still Houston ball, but they are smothering. Akeem Olajuwon inside has been the only man the Rockets have been going to there.
They're really doing a job on the guard, so the entry passes to Olajuwon are much too long.
Sampson hits from the baseline.
Sampson.
Ralph Sampson, who's the second leading scorer in this series for the Rockets, and missed 39 games this year, and it's a 3-point Seattle lead. Level harassing McMillan, and Xavier McDaniel hits.
And when he gets it pumped up, watch out.
He hasn't been doing much offensively in this series. He's been really keeping himself occupied with Rodney McRae defensively. Reed hitting outside, and so Reed, who came into the game at 34%, has hit his first 2 shots.
Very important for him to hit a few to get himself going.
And a 3-point shot. Tom Chambers, who hit a 3-pointer to bring the Sonics back from a 21-point deficit the other night before they lost. On Sampson's miss, Chambers the rebound. McDaniel doubled. Sampson working on Chambers. Blocked by Olajuwon. Outlet pass, good one by Sampson to level. 2-on-1 break. McRae, and that's the Houston fast break that they would like to run. Seattle quickly back. Ellis. And another offensive rebound for the Sonics. Wild first period. McMillan. No foul. And McRae. Tommy, this is the wildest start of any game we've seen this year.
Well, they're both getting their running games going, no question about it. How effective they are remains to be seen.
McDaniel. And the Sonics lead 17-11.
Pure emotion here, Dick. When you get into that running game as effectively or as quickly as they are, they're really expending some adrenaline.
And illegal defense called against Seattle, the first of the game. Here is the fast break, started with Akeem's block.
Akeem Olajuwon goes to the penetration, waits as the second defender on Chambers, and immediately the ball goes to Sampson, quickly up the court so that he can attack the lone defender. And Olajuwon right there for the rebound if it were missed.
Next year's excitement for the very best.
The defense that has been used on Akeem Olajuwon. The Sonics at times have been using a triple team, knowing that Akeem is not a good passer and really has trouble reading the defense. Here you see Akeem with good position in a low post, and all of a sudden on a reception of the ball, 3 Sonics attack him. He's forced into a turnover by not finding the right man, and that has been converted into a lot of easy baskets. You must, in meeting a triple team, make a quick move before that triple team develops, or find one of 3 people on the weak side who is being guarded by only 1 defender.
You know, Tommy, it's amazing. People expect so much from Akeem Olajuwon, but when the Rockets got him, he had very little experience as a basketball player, and he's going to get a lot better, and he's pretty good now.
Well, they're asking him to have a master's degree right now, a PhD in reading defenses, and he just doesn't have the experience for it.
Clement Johnson has come into the ball game, replacing Alton Lister. Robert Reed, perfect
That
from the night has 6 points.
That, Dick, was a very important outside shot because the double team did not work. They still scored from the outside.
And also in the game is Danny Young in the backcourt for Seattle. This is where they start using their 6 guards. Chambers misses inside and Level comes down with it. So Danny Young replaces McMillan. 2 good point guards and an air ball thrown up by Reed. And here comes Xavier McDaniel. Knocked away by Alan Level. Alton Lister was out with a broken bone in his foot the last 7 games of the regular season. And he came back to start the 4th game of this series. He's not 100%. He's a good shot blocker, but Clement Johnson has done a fine job in his stead. Ellis misses. McDaniel keeps it alive.
They are just out-quicking the Rockets to the boards.
And an offensive foul called against the Sonics.
Offensive foul.
Sonics is so difficult to defend against because any one of 4 players can end up in that low post, and they're all pretty effective down there.
Ellis is still on Reed. Looking to get the ball to Sampson, defended by Chambers. Good passing by Olajuwon. Level misses. He's in a shooting slump. Sampson with the offensive rebound and scores.
Sampson.
And the Rockets are going to need good production from both Olajuwon and Sampson tonight if they're going to stay alive in the 6th game. Taken down by Olajuwon. Now McRae. Akeem filling the lane, draws the foul, and on the clock we have 5:21. I believe that is the official time of this first period. It's Bernie Bickerstaff, who spent 12 years as an assistant coach and finally got his chance. And Maurice Lucas told me today, he says, he fights for his players, and he's a positive guy. And apparently he's pressing the right buttons here.
I think he is the true leader of this team right now because there has not been a player on the court with enough experience to lead the team on the court. So he's pushing all the emotional buttons on the bench, probably better than any of the other coaches in the NBA right now.
The foul was on McDaniel, his first. And coming into the ball game will be Kevin Williams. And Williams replaces Dale Ellis.
Kevin Williams is in there to put some tough physical defense on Alan Level. Really get in his jersey and make him work it up the court.
He played 30 minutes the other night. That's the most action that Williams has seen. He's a refugee from the Continental Basketball Association, as several of the Sonics are. Great story here in Seattle with 9 new faces. McDaniel misses from the corner into the hands of Level, and the chance for the Rockets to take the lead. They scored the opening basket of the ball game and trailed by 6, but Sampson's guilty of traveling.
One thing, though, Dick, the Rockets are gang rebounding defensively a lot better than in the prior game.
Turnover story, and that has been a big problem for the Rockets. They've turned the ball over much too much. Good defense as Chambers misses, and here's Rodney McRae. Reed. McRae and Olajuwon fought for the offensive rebound. Neither one had control, and traveling finally called.
Well, McRae is the man in the middle. That really robs the Rockets of finishes on the fast break. Level and Reed are outside shooters on the wing. They don't take it strong to the basket.
The Rockets have scored 6 straight points, and that's broken by Kevin Williams' basket, the former St. John's University star. Now Houston coming right back with McRae getting the basket.
McRae.
And now the end-to-end running game action goes on again. We had a flurry early in this period. And that kind of frenzy was something we hadn't seen in a long time. Williams hits the jumper.
Oh, he's coming in and taking Dale Ellis's role beautifully, coming off those picks.
And a foul call against the Sonics, and it's Kevin Williams with the personal foul. It'll be his first.
His first. The 4th team foul.
Seattle has committed 4 team fouls. Houston has committed only 1. And Steve Harris has come in the ball game now for the Houston Rockets, and Harris had his best showing of the playoffs in the last game.
And Ellis is in there, and he'll play forward for the Sonics.
He was used as a backup forward by Dick Motta in Dallas. Didn't get much playing time, and now had a chance to shine. There's the lob pass.
Sampson.
Bernie Bickerstaff said would be the big concern with Sampson. No one around him.
He is such a big target, particularly against a man like Lucas who can't jump.
Maurice Lucas facing the basket. Hits the shot. Maurice Lucas, an image maker for the Sonic team.
Tough guy, and that's what Bickerstaff wanted him for.
Harris to Olajuwon.
Olajuwon.
They're using Steve Harris as a point guard as well as an off guard, and Harris is being teamed with Level right now. He was the #1 pick 2 years ago out of Tulsa. Really hasn't had a chance to show much. Coming off a 12-point game. Lucas loses the ball to Level. And a chance for the Rockets to take their first lead since 2-0. Harris misses, and here is Ellis. 3-on-2 Sonics. Kevin Williams pulls up. Rebound McRae. He's done everything for this Houston team. And a blocking foul called against Clement Johnson.
Here is a big target in action. And you're going to see him really just take 1 foot to fake up and then be ready for the pass as Lucas got completely fooled on the play.
You got to keep him in front of you. That's the only way you can stop that.
Sponsored by Miller Lite. For great taste, there's only one light beer. Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? And by Price Pfister, the fabulous faucet with a funny name.
Dick Stockton and Tom Heinsohn back at the Seattle Center Coliseum, where we have a tie with 2:41 remaining in the first period. And we want to remind you that we have coverage this weekend of the Colonial National Invitation, the 3rd and 4th rounds. And Bill Rogers has a 1-stroke lead in a very close fight after 1 round. 3rd round, Saturday at 2 o'clock Eastern time. Rodney McRae. Harris is on the line. Tommy, a lot of times Rodney McRae goes unnoticed when people talk about the Twin Towers of the Rockets. He's coming off his best game of the series with a triple-double. He had 24 points, 10 rebounds, and 11 assists.
He might be the most complete player of all the Rockets. And when I say complete, it's passing, handle it, defense, the whole works.
Alton Lister back in the game at center, and Eddie Johnson, another former CBA performer, with the ball, number 15 in the backcourt. Coming off the screen by Lister, Dale Ellis hits. Ellis has 10 points. He's the high scorer in the ball game. Olajuwon and Sampson each have 6 for the Rockets. And you can see where the Sonics pick up the guards, really extend their defense.
They make Level. They're trying to get Level to pick the ball up about 10 feet past the 3-point circle.
2:08 to go, and foul is called. And now Lucas and Sampson have to be separated. And now Olajuwon gets into the act with Lucas. And they better stop this in a hurry, Tommy. We could have a big problem here.
Well, there's a little intimidation that the Sonics are trying to use on the Rockets right now to get the Rockets so emotional that they'll stop thinking about what they're doing. And that is a big plus if they can do it, the Sonics. The Rockets should keep their cool right now and go and do it the way you're supposed to do it, with baskets and not with tempers.
Well, both Olajuwon and Sampson were ejected twice last year against Seattle. Here's where this started.
They can use all the fouls. They've got 3 guys that they can throw in down that low post, and they're going to be very physical. Sampson has to keep his cool.
A technical foul has been called on both Maurice Lucas and, I believe, Akeem Olajuwon. So a technical on both of those players and a personal foul against Maurice Lucas. Lucas has been known as the enforcer since he came into the league 13 years ago. He played with the Lakers a year ago and could very well, if the Sonics are successful in this series, go against his last team, the Lakers, in the Western Final.
I think he'd like nothing better than to do that, Dick. Ralph Sampson, they will be very, very physical with him. Lucas, that's his job, to ruffle Sampson's feathers. There you're going to see a little bump, and Lucas really just kind of creates it, and Sampson reacts.
Ralph scored with a left slap.
Little left slap, and Lucas is going to stick his nose in there and take another swing because you may get thrown out if you hit me.
So Sampson makes both free throws. So It's Eddie Johnson and Kevin Williams in the backcourt, and as Tommy mentioned, Dale Ellis playing a forward position. Ellis there, picked up by McRae. Lucas is posting up against Sampson, giving up a lot of inches. Lister tips it in for Seattle.
A really weak side rebound, beautiful as Olajuwon went for maybe a block.
Less than 2 minutes to go in the first period. Sampson misses a hook shot against Lucas. We have 8 ties in this opening period. Great pass. Eddie Johnson to Alton Lister.
Eddie Johnson can make it happen when he's in the middle of the court and there are people out in front of him.
Played the first half of this year at the CBA.
Poor Alan Level. He's facing all these people.
Steve Harris off the screen. Lister, the rebound. 29-27 Seattle. And a foul is called against Akeem Olajuwon, his first foul of the game.
First in the last 2 minutes.
The Rockets now with 4 team fouls, and the next one will put them in the penalty. Sonics already are. Lucas setting a screen for Eddie Johnson, who bets the basket and the foul.
The basket is made by Johnson.
One of 6 guards that make you pay the price. Good penetration, and before anybody can cut him off at the pass, he's by him for 2 and a foul.
What an amazing story. The Sonics with 9 new faces and winning 31 games last year and improving 8 games to 39 and 43. Few people thought they would get even this far. And they're on a roll after beating Dallas 3 straight after dropping the opening game of the opening series. Lucas intercepting, and the trap for the Sonics works. Under a minute to go. Ellis for 3. Biggest lead of the first period for Seattle. Timeout. A 20-second timeout called by Bill Fitch. What did Bernie Bickerstaff tell us today? That it's a gut feeling. A lot of the moves he makes on the bench with his deep team is made by virtue of the gut feeling he has and how he reads the personality.
He reads the body language, too, to see if guys are going to be on their toes when he puts them in the game. But what he does by revolving so many people through the lineup is create great morale so that everybody's ready to play. They think they're going to play. They want to make a contribution.
46 seconds remaining in the first period and 21 on the shot clock. McRae will inbound. So a 3-point bomb by Ellis, who has 13 points, has given Seattle its biggest lead of the game, 35-27. Harris passes back to Sampson, air ball, and McRae steps out of bounds.
Harris passed up a shot that time, Dick. He was wide open.
A delay of game warning called against the Rockets.
When you're on the road and the other team is going to be physical with you, you've got to keep your cool.
And Seattle has been physical with Houston. Make no mistake about it. Johnson would have gotten the basket if it had dropped. And a foul against Alan Level will send Eddie Johnson to the line. And still another substitution coming in for the second time, Clement Johnson, who started at center throughout the playoffs until Lister was all right, comes back.
Shooting 2.
Johnson, formerly with Indiana and the Sixers, and knows what it's like to play in big playoff pressure.
Well, he's been there with the Sixers, but right now they'll use his wide body, give Lister a rest under there, who's probably a better rebounder than Clem Johnson, but Johnson will not know how to play good inside defense.
The Sonics have scored 11 in a row here with 21 seconds to go.
There's the little press, delaying them in the backcourt, making them use as much time back there as possible.
But Eddie Johnson fouls Level, who will go to the line and shoot with 14 seconds to go.
That is not the object of what they're trying to do. The pressure in the backcourt is to take seconds off the clock, not really to steal the ball, to make Level work, to tire him out so he won't be able to hit that outside shot or even make good passes. That was a bad gamble. Bickerstaff doesn't want him to do stuff like that.
Xavier McDaniel, who has scored 4 points, comes in for Clement Johnson. So they want McDaniel's defense or offense for the final second.
When you keep changing the lineup like that, it's awfully difficult for the Rockets to find a matchup they want to go to.
Jim Peterson in the game. He has been a quiet performer for the Rockets. And the final seconds here, and Seattle can play out the period. Lucas with a fake on Sampson and travels with 1 second showing on the clock. The Sonics scored 11 in a row before Level made the free throw. 1 second in the opening period. And after one, it's the Sonics 36 and the Rockets 28. And we'll return to the Seattle Center Coliseum after this message and a word from your local station. Things heat up in the NBA playoffs Saturday at 3:30 Eastern Time. Tommy and I will either be in Houston for the 7th and deciding game of the Sonics and Rockets or Game 1 of the West Final between Seattle and the LA Lakers if Seattle wins. On Sunday, we'll be with you at 1 o'clock for Game 7 of the great series between Milwaukee and Boston, and that has shaped up as a classic. Or Game 1 of the East Final between Detroit and Boston if the Celtics win tomorrow night. And Sunday at the half, you will see again live the 1987 NBA Draft Lottery. David Robinson likely will be the object of the #1 pick. So we start the second period, and Seattle scored 11 of the last 12 points scored in the opening session.
And the Rockets are going to try and come back with a little defensive pressure of their own on the Sonics ball handler, Nate McMillan.
Chambers is up front with McDaniel and Lister. Dale Ellis, who missed the shot in the back court with Nate McMillan, as Bernie Bickerstaff used 10 players in that opening period. Robert Reed and Steve Harris in the backcourt. Olajuwon, McRae, and Peterson up front. And illegal defense called against the Sonics, and that'll be a technical foul. That's the second call against Bernie Bickerstaff's team.
And Bill Fitch told us this afternoon that he was very concerned about the illegal defense. You're going to see they're all pointing. Look. They're all over the midline going down, and they're all ready to help out on the double team before the ball is even into the low post.
Harris makes the free throw, and so the Rockets retain possession, trailing by 7 as you look at the leading scorers in the first period, although Houston had good balanced scoring from their starting 5. Olajuwon gets it in good position. And Akeem now with 8 points ties Sampson for the club lead.
Well, they never got to the low post double team that time. He turned strong to the basket. He made the move just as quick as you're supposed to.
Harris gets the turnover into the hands of Robert Reed. Peterson filling the lane, lays it in, and all of a sudden the Rockets trail by 3. So they start out strong with 6 in a row here in the second period.
Playing pretty aggressive defense, too. That little pressure up on the ball has taken McMillan a little bit out of it.
Ellis short on the shot, and the rebound, and the foul will be called against the Rockets. Tommy, why has Jim Peterson been so quiet in this series?
Well, offensively, they're doing the same thing to him as they were doing to Olajuwon. They're double teaming him every time he gets the ball in the low post. And defensively, he's having to play one of the tougher power forwards in the league, Tom Chambers.
So when you have to play defense against a tough guy, you kind of give up your game. Ellis missed the baseline shot. And Reed brings it up with a minute and a half gone by, second period. They double Peterson. Good pass from McRae to Harris. And he missed the 15-foot baseline, and an offensive foul called, and that will be against Elijah. Let's check it. Peterson, his second.
You just cannot miss those type of shots. You've got to hit the 15-footers. They've missed at least 6 of them so far, uncontested.
As you pointed out, that's been the Sonic strategy. Make the Rockets shoot from the perimeter, and their guards just haven't been clicking.
Well, if you don't hit the 15-footers, you don't deserve to win.
Chambers against Peterson. Tom Chambers, who is the MVP in the All-Star game, and he never thought that he would have a bigger thrill than that, but he's having it here in the playoffs with the Sonics. Reed picked up by Ellis, double team. The open man was Harris, but it was picked off by Nate McMillan. Not a good pass inside. Chambers is fouled. McRae just didn't get the ball inside well enough.
That was read beautifully by Nate McMillan. What was going to happen? Perfect defense.
He's only a rookie. And a second-round pick at that. Chambers, one of the big three of the Sonics, who's as amazed as anyone over Seattle's success in the playoffs.
We didn't think we could beat the Dallas Mavericks. All of a sudden, we got together and we said, hey, just try. Let's try one time. Let's see how much pride we have, how much character we have as a team. Let's just give them one shot. We hadn't done it all season long. Once we got that game, it was sweet. It was nice. And everybody's just done their job, done whatever it's taken, whatever Bernie's asked each and every individual on this team to do, they have done.
The Sonics were 0-5 in the regular season against the Dallas Mavericks, but they beat them in 3 straight after losing the opening game of that series. And this is the matchup of the 2 power forwards in the series. These are the averages, and Chambers has had the edge on Ralph.
Well, Chambers is probably the toughest power forward to match up against, next to Kevin McHale, who's primarily a low post player. But Chambers can take you outside, kill you with 3-pointers. If you go out to defend against that, he's able to get around most big power forwards that defend against him. And he also can post up low and shoot over almost anybody down there. So he is a tough matchup.
You saw the numbers where Sampson has more than held his own so far in the early going in that matchup. Seattle going to the line. This is only their 7th free throw of this game. It's a 7-point lead, 40-33, and here's the pressure again by Seattle.
Make them slow it up in the backcourt, take them out of their normal set pattern, make them develop an offense to beat their press rather than the low post offense they like to use.
Make them have to rush a shot with the clock running down, hopefully, for them. 7 on the shot clock. McRae feeds Olajuwon, and Akeem now is 10 points. He is the Rockets' scoring leader. Ellis leads Seattle with 13. So Nate McMillan and Ellis in the backcourt. Lister, Chambers, and McDaniel. The same 5 that started the game for the Sonics in here now. Chambers misses, and here's a 4-on-1 break. Steve Harris has Peterson and McRae. Pulls up and misses the jumper. Peterson with the offensive rebound scores, but Tommy Harris missed another shot again.
That was poor decision. They had 2 men on the wing. They should have ended up with a layup, not a jump shot.
But the lead is cut to 3, 40-37, with just under 9 minutes to go in the first half. Dick Stockton and Tom Heinsohn here at Seattle. Nate McMillan put a great fake on Harris, but the ball hit Harris, and it's still Sonics ball.
Olajuwon is so quick to help out on penetration. What a beautiful block that was.
3 blocks by Olajuwon. McDaniel misses a 3, and Peterson gets the rebound, and now Houston can come within 1 if they can score. Double on Akeem. Ellis on Reed. And Reed stepped on the line, and once again the Sonics put the Houston Rockets in an awkward position as Reed has a few words for Hugh Holland.
Well, if the shot wasn't there, he should have gotten it back outside. The weak side, there was only 1 defender to guard 2 of them.
Maurice Lucas back in the game, replacing Lister. So the muscle man is in instead of the shot blocker for the Sonics.
Intimidator.
Chambers over Peterson at the baseline. And it's up for Tom Chambers, who's hit a 3-point shot already tonight. He hit 1 to bring the Sonics back from that big 21-point deficit the other night, although Houston rallied again to win. Akeem. And the rebound taken out of the pack by Nate McMillan. McMillan to McDaniel.
That's the way to run the fast break. McMillan, beautiful pass.
McRae on the pick and roll, and a foul called against Dale Ellis.
They bring their guard down to help on the boards. That always helps, and with the good dribbling ability, he gets out quickly, and now he reached the lone defender that can stop the fast break, makes him commit, and that leaves McDaniel wide open on the wing for the layup.
Danny Young, number 22, is in the game, and you look at Cedric Maxwell, who has a world of playoff experience. He was once an MVP in the finals for the Boston Celtics against the Houston Rockets in '81. And Kevin Williams also checks in. So a lot of guard depth in the backcourt by the Sonics. They double Akeem, level. Maxwell. Akeem fights for the offensive rebound, gets the basket and the foul. Good offensive rebound by Olajuwon.
They've been keeping him off an awful lot, but you'll see him fight his way in. They didn't put a body on him like they've been doing in most of this series. And when he gets his hands in close to it with nobody near him, he'll just power through.
Lucas commits the foul, his second. Ellis, the other Sonic, with 2 personal fouls in the game. And Olajuwon with 13 points. There's the story. Houston has led on only 2 occasions. The first basket of the game at a 27-25. Otherwise, it's been the Sonics, and Xavier McDaniel now with 8 points.
He loves this building. He's got his spots on the floor. He knows what to do with it.
Olajuwon from Maxwell inside, and Chambers loses it to McRae. And a foul is called against Rodney McRae, a loose ball foul.
The foul is on Rodney McRae.
Bill Fitch looking for the answers. McRae picks up his 3rd personal foul, and that could be critical.
Supersonic timeout.
CBS Sports coverage of the 1987 NBA playoffs is sponsored by Renault and Jeep, official vehicles of the NBA, and by Fram, Bendix, and Autolite, which are all quality products of Allied Automotive.
Here's our score. Seattle 46, Houston 40. This is the 6th game of the best of 7. And if the Sonics win, they will go on and face the Lakers Saturday afternoon here on CBS in Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. But we have a lot of action left. McDaniel, turnaround, and the rebound by Olajuwon. Dick Stockton and Tom Heinsohn. The 3rd member of our team is James Brown, and we'll be hearing from JB before long. Sampson is posting up against Chambers and level, trying to find it.
Boy, they made him pick up the ball about 10 feet above the three-point circle. Boy, that's great defense.
Reed forced the shot. Winds up in the hands of Sampson, who hits the short hook. And Sampson now has 10. So Olajuwon and Sampson have 23 of the Rockets' 42 points.
And Young is in there right now, Dick, and he is an exceptional shooter, along with the good ball handling and hard push of the ball up the court for the fast break.
Chambers out of bounds, and it's Houston ball. Next time the Sonics have the ball, Tommy, maybe we can talk about how Danny Young differs from Nate McMillan, who we saw run that fast break before. Different roles for the playmaker and different styles that Bernie Bickerstaff has.
Boy, Kevin Williams is really working level up the court. There's 13 seconds on a 24-second clock before they get into their offense.
Reed off the screen hits, and Robert Reed has 8 points, and the lead is cut to 2. Here's Danny Young.
Well, Young does that real good outside shooting ability, and McMillan really is more of a ball handler than Young is.
Rebound. Lucas missed. Sampson ties the game, and the Rockets hang in there. Lead pass. McDaniel gets the basket and draws the foul. Boy, did McDaniel release on that basket inside. Talk about getting the fast break against made hoops.
But it certainly was a great pass after the made basket, and McDaniel just took it on the money. And Olajuwon, he was full out hustling that time to try and block the shot. He ends up with the foul. Now, you watch how quickly Lucas takes the ball out of bounds and just pitches it up the court. That's his Laker training in action right now. A master of getting the fast break going after made baskets for Lakers.
Olajuwon commits his 2nd personal foul. McDaniel misses the free throw. Into the game, Dale Ellis and Alton Lister for the Sonics. It's 48-46, the Sonics lead. We've had 9 ties in this game. Setting a pick up high is Sampson. Double on level. 4 on the shot clock. And there is Olajuwon with another offensive rebound. Seattle ball.
Boy, they even doubled him after he got that rebound to force him to take that fall away.
Akeem has 9 rebounds in the game, but 6 of them have been off the offensive glass. And the Sonics with a 2-point lead and 4:35 remaining in the first half. Chambers setting a screen for Danny Young. Sampson the rebound. Level.
And Olajuwon really hustled up the court and they missed him.
Reed, a 2-point shot, and he's in double figures. And now the Rockets have tied it up again at 48.
20 seconds.
And a 20-second timeout called by the Sonics. You talked about Danny Young and the fact that he is a good outside shot. As Bernie Bickerstaff says, he's more of a safe playmaker, ball handler, as opposed to Nate McMillan. And so when you have those 2 different paces with 2 different men in there, you can really do a lot of things against teams.
Well, there's no question about that. And I think that the outside shooting of this man is certainly very important, Danny Young. And they haven't really turned McMillan loose yet. Bernie Bickerstaff was saying McMillan is a lot better shooter than people think he is right now, but he's a young player and we're keeping him under control.
Well, the last time the Sonics got to the Western Conference Final was 7 years ago when they lost to the Lakers in 5 games. And you don't find many teams with losing records who manage to get it going in postseason. Just a handful, and the Sonics are the latest of an exclusive group.
Well, the Rockets have kept their cool, and they're playing their game right now, and they're back with a tie. That's really keeping your head.
Lister knocked away by Olajuwon, and of course, you look at Houston's rebounds, most of them 9 by Olajuwon, and Akeem has 2 personal fouls, and the Sonics may be trying to get Olajuwon his 3rd.
What the Rockets are doing are gang rebounding on the defensive board, more so than I've seen them in the prior games.
It's still Sonics ball, and they have 6 seconds on the shot clock. They're the leading scorers, although Sampson has 12 for Houston. Chambers has 11, McDaniel 10. So the big guns are doing it so far in the first half. The big 3 for Seattle, scoring-wise. Chambers short. Akeem on the air ball, and a chance for the Rockets to take their first lead since 27-25 in the first period. 3:45 remaining in the half. Young is on level. Picked up by Lister on the switch, and a blocking foul called against Alton Lister.
Very good defense by the Sonics. Whenever the double happens and he kicks to this man who delivered the pass to him, they're forcing him into the corner and down along the baseline, and that's really creating problems. Now, Reed got caught twice doing that.
Here's Maurice Lucas in for Chambers. Eddie Johnson also comes into the ball game for the Sonics. And Bernie Bickerstaff will also bring in Clement Johnson at the next break. Team fouls. Houston's already in the penalty, and Seattle has committed 3. Off the hands of Maxwell. Score is tied at 48. And traveling call. So the Sonics turn it over again. They were the 5th highest in the league in turnovers in the regular season, but have done a fine job of protecting the ball in this series against the Rockets. Nearly 3 minutes remaining in the first half. Level fires away and gives the Rockets a 50-48 lead. The biggest lead of the game was Seattle with a 9-point lead just before the end of the first session. Lucas sets a screen. Picked up by Level. Johnson. Eddie Johnson misses. Rebound. Good outlet by Olajuwon to Level. To Maxwell. The basket counts and a foul. And that's the way to run a clinic fast break. And the Rockets lead 52-48. You can stretch the lead when Maxwell goes to the line when we come back to Seattle Center Coliseum.
The Heat in a non-stop jam to the beat. The NBA playoffs continue Saturday on CBS Sports.
And with 2:44 remaining in the second period, to find out what's coming up at the half, here's James Brown. JB?
All right, Dick, thank you very much. Coming up for you on the Prudential at the half, we'll review that Boston-Milwaukee series from last night and Boston's continued woes with injuries. We'll also take a look at the victorious Detroit Pistons and their heroes welcome back to the Motor City last night. And we'll also talk live with Slick Watts, one of the most popular guards ever here in Seattle. That and more coming up for you on the Credential at the half. Back to you, Dick.
JB, I wonder, are any fans around you? He's not in a glass booth, I know that. Tommy, the Rockets in the last 4.5 minutes have outscored the Sonics 12-2, and Seattle has gone cold from the field, missing their last 7 shots. And as a result, Houston cut up their lead to 5.
They have gobbled up all the misses, the rebounds, and they have been very smart taking the fast break situations when they have been there. And they have executed their half-court offense much more effectively than they have probably in any of the other games.
Maxwell missed the chance to give the Rockets a 5-point margin, and Dale Ellis comes back with a jump shot. And it's 52-50. So the Sonics, after missing 7 in a row, scoring Olajuwon with a decisive slam, now has 15 points.
But McDaniel was forced to pick Olajuwon up, and that's a mismatch in favor of the Rockets.
And Ellis is fouled.
Dale Ellis really puts you to the test. You'll see him now underneath the basket. He can go right or use this pick. Look at the big man Lucas just jumping his way. By the time you get to him, the shot is off and away, and he made it.
Alan Level, who has had his hands full throughout the series against Dale Ellis, picks up his 3rd personal foul as Nate McMillan re-enters the ball game, and Ellis on the line. The biggest improvement maybe in NBA history was Dale Ellis, who went from averaging 7 points a game to 25 points a game in 1 season, and finally had a chance to start. As Dick Motta said, he always had a starter's personality, and there was no place for him to start with the Mavericks.
Well, why didn't he start for the Mavericks?
Well, over Orlando Blackman? He has a point.
Well, maybe as a forward, I'll tell you, he can really shoot the ball.
Mark McGuire. McDaniel to Ellis. Maxwell. And Olajuwon saves it. 54-52, the Rockets. They have the ball, and Alan Level buries one from the corner. And Nate McMillan got tangled up as the Rockets came up the court defensively. So Houston once again with their 4-point lead. Ellis goes baseline against Reed, blocked by Sampson. Olajuwon to Maxwell. Here's Level. And Level didn't have control, and they missed the 2-on-1 break.
Well, the pass was a little bit too long. Maxwell made a heck of a play just to catch up to it. And you're going to see the great block. There's penetration, and Olajuwon can really go and block shots as well as Ralph Sampson. They gobble you up on penetration.
There's the time remaining in the first half. 9 block shots so far. Ellis. McMillan tries to knock the ball in, and here comes Houston. 4-on-2 with a minute to go. Crowd thought Olajuwon might have taken an extra step. Rockets can establish their biggest lead, but Sampson throws the ball away to McMillan. Ellis. Xavier McDaniel, and he's fouled.
Staff saying, boy, we got to make a couple of layups here. They had 3 chances to score on that.
And Olajuwon now has 3 personal fouls. So McRae, Olajuwon, and Level each have 3 as Kevin Williams replaces Dale Ellis, who goes out with 17 points. So Akeem goes out with 15. Ellis goes to the bench with 17, but Olajuwon has 3 fouls. And here's Russ Shaney, who is the 11th man used by Bernie Bickerstaff in his first half.
And they'll bring him in really to save Lucas and his fouls to work against Olajuwon. They don't want him using his fouls against Peterson. They'll let Shaney do that.
Shaney is 6'10". Broke in with Philadelphia and went to Indiana. He was traded to the Indiana Pacers for, of all people, Clement Johnson. And now they are teammates here in Seattle.
I think he's going to be a good player. He can shoot from the outside, and he's a banger himself, Russ Shaney.
McDaniel gets them both, cutting Houston's lead to 2. Maxwell bringing the ball up.
When your forward brings the ball up, there's troubles.
Harris Ducks underneath. Peterson has it in the corner with 26 seconds to go. Harris banks it in for the Rockets. And the Rocket lead is 4 with 19 seconds to go in the first half.
They're virtually given Steve Harris that 15-foot shot.
Olajuwon with 15 points and 14 rebounds on the bench with 3 fouls. The Rockets have come back from a 9-point deficit to take the lead here. 1 second to go. No basket. The basket does not count. Time ran out. Time ran out. And that's the end of the first half with the score. The Rockets 58. The Sonics 54. Here's that last play. Watch the clock, Tommy.
It's down to 2 while he gets his hand on it. And he was up in the air, and the release was just after it reached 0.
James Brown will be back with the Prudential at the hand from the Seattle Center Coliseum after this message.
An NBA Playoffs is sponsored by Miller Genuine Draft. Cold filtered draft beer. It's as real as it gets. And by Midas for mufflers, brakes, and shocks. Midas size. Get it right the first time.
Dick Stockton and Tom Heinsohn back here at Seattle as we get set for the start of the third period, with Houston leading 58-54, and the Rockets are battling for survival. They are the Western Conference champions. They lost to the Celtics in 6 games in the NBA Finals last year, and unless they win tonight and extend the series to a 7th game on Saturday, they will be a new Western representative in the NBA Finals this year. You're looking at the high scores, and Olajuwon has 14 rebounds as well, but also 3 personal fouls, and he has been the big man. Now, Bernie Bickerstaff said, we want to wear down the backcourt with our depth. Has he done that at all, do you think, in the first half?
I think Bill Fitch has really been very intelligent. They've gotten level out a great deal more, and they've rested him, so he ought to be able to play the hard offense, push up the floor the second half.
Seattle will inbound. Nate McMillan in the backcourt with Ellis. Xavier, McDaniel, Chambers, and Lister, and someone threw something out on the court. A very unwise move, to say the least. For the Rockets, it's Olajuwon, McRae, and Sampson up front. Robert Reed and Allen Level in the backcourt. Houston undefeated in the playoffs this year when they're in front at halftime, and they're in front by 4. McMillan with a good pass to Ellis, but he couldn't make the layups, and that malady is still bothering the Sonics into the second half.
Well, they made the quick adjustment, and his shot was altered by Sampson.
Reed fakes Ellis. And McRae keeps it alive to Sampson. Has the ball knocked away by McDaniel, and the 24-second clock expires. It's amazing how they couldn't get a shot off.
Well, the double team developed. They had to move it around. Reed turned down the outside shot, ended up taking a poor shot.
Chambers working against Sampson. Is fouled.
Chambers for a big guy, Dick. Good up fake, and then a big, quick first step to the hoop, and then he digs his shoulder into you to keep his body between the defender and the ball.
Second foul on Ralph. And if you're wondering about the Sonics' big 3, Chambers scored 11, Xavier McDaniel 12, and Dale Ellis had 17 in the first half for Seattle.
You know, he's the guy I believe has had to make the biggest adjustment personality-wise. You know, if this was a Broadway theater show, he would have been cast in the previous years as Romeo, and now Bernie Bickerstaff has asked him to be the Merchant of Venice. That's a big adjustment.
At least he isn't Juliet. Rockets lead is 2 points. Nate McMillan is on level. Sampson posting up against Chambers.
And Chambers just nudged him out.
And Ralph, who likes to hit or take shots from outside, misses into the hands of McDaniel. And the lob, Chambers, and Lister couldn't handle it. So the Sonics version of the alley-oop doesn't go, and it's Houston ball. Turnovers in the first half. Houston turned it over 12 times to 8 for Seattle. McCray. And Ellis controls it. They had McDaniel free on the other wing. Lister inside from Dale Ellis.
They got the fourth man up the court so quick. And Sampson and Olajuwon were it back.
And a quick timeout called by the Rockets.
Going to see Tom Chambers really do an outstanding defensive job on Ralph Sampson in a low post. Oh, he's got Sampson, and you notice his leg up underneath Sampson, and he just keeps bumping him out. The extra few inches, Sampson pops out to get the ball, the only place he could really get it, and now they force him to take the outside shot. They've kept the ball away from Olajuwon underneath, and they force Sampson to take an outside shot. Good defense.
The Rockets' 4-point lead dissolves within 2 minutes of this third period. We're tied at 58. 11 times this game has been tied. Level. Sampson picked up nicely by Nate McMillan, switched, and then the turnover into the hands of Xavier McDaniel. It's still Sonics ball. So another Houston turnover. For the Sonics, a chance to move into the Western Conference Finals. How improbable that was when they went into this playoff, coming in with a 39-43 record. For the Rockets, it could be extinction from this year's playoffs. Chambers misses a three. He was short, and it's going to be Houston ball. There's the turnover story so far, and once again, the Rockets are erratic and not protecting the ball.
They all have trouble reading the defenses. They're trying to swing it right through the teeth of the defense.
Robert Reed missing from the corner. Olajuwon had it and lost it. Nate McMillan with a lot of speed, up tempo. McDaniel. And fouled is Dale Ellis, who was there for the offensive rebound.
You know, Dick, when you fast break and you take a quick shot and everybody's running, you get clean-up rebounds, and that's what Ellis did that time. In perfect position, you never get a chance to block out.
Fourth foul on Allen Level, and the second team foul for the Rockets in this period. Not a shooting foul. Off the screen, Ellis. Olajuwon gets the rebound, and for Akeem, that is his 15th rebound. Nate McMillan, the rookie against the veteran Level, doing a tremendous job. Reed missing, and the Rockets are having a miserable time shooting from the perimeter, and that's been their downfall maybe all season.
Sonics are forcing the Rockets to the outside shot. They're doubling everything that goes into the low post.
And another foul against Allen Level, and that's 5 on the guy who's supposed to be pushing it up, the main man for Bill Fitch.
Yeah, and you're going to see him here trying to really get in front, and he can't. He doesn't have those feet moving. And Harris comes in to replace him, play point guard.
Steve Harris, who had a good game the last time out and has scored 5 points, is in there. There's the lob to Lister, and a great block. Olajuwon, I believe, got a piece of that shot by Lister. Sky hook, not quite. Reed, the rebound. 8:35 remaining in this third period as Harris penetrates, no basket, as Olajuwon comes in and a foul before the shot by Akeem.
Gonna watch some good weak side play right now. A little lob, and it goes over the top of Olajuwon, but look at McCray right there to give the man trouble, Lister, and then made him put the ball back over his head for Olajuwon to block it.
The foul is against Lister, his third, and the first Sonic to pick up 3. Sampson lost his balance. Fight for the loose ball, and Olajuwon picks it up, gets the basket, and draws the foul.
The basket is good by Olajuwon.
So Olajuwon, who himself is playing with 3 personal fouls.
Second team.
Level is in danger of being disqualified, has 5. This foul was on Nate McMillan, his second, and the second team foul on Seattle.
With Level on the bench, Robert Reed will now more than likely become the point guard. Steve Harris will become the off guard, the shooting guard. And that will slow down their fast break.
Olajuwon misses, but he has 17 points and 16 rebounds. Off a screen, McDaniel picked up and doubled. Ellis has been in a big shooting slump. He loses the ball into the hands of Harris. With under 8 minutes to go in the third. Reed inside. Olajuwon gets the basket.
Olajuwon.
And the Rockets lead 62-58, and that matches their biggest lead in a 20-second timeout called by Bernie Bickerstaff.
20-second timeout, Sonics.
So as the playoffs heat up, we get to a couple of possible Game 7s in the West and the East. If the Rockets maintain their lead, they'll take Seattle to a 7th game at the Summit Saturday at 3:30. But if the Sonics come from behind and eliminate Houston, it'll be Seattle and the Lakers in Game 1 of the West Final. On Sunday, same story. Milwaukee and Boston play Game 6 tomorrow in Milwaukee. If the Celtics can't close it out, they'll play a 7th game at Boston Garden, where the Bucks ended a big hex winning yesterday. Otherwise, it'll be the Celtics and Pistons Game 1. Plenty of action coming up this weekend, playoff-wise, in the NBA on CBS. Ellis has missed 9 of his last 10 shots. He's still the high scorer, though, for the Sonics with 17. Chambers strong to the basket. And a Houston foul on Sampson, and that'll be Ralph's third personal.
They're defending Chambers on the drive, much like the Rockets did to James Worthy last year. They're sending him to Olajuwon, and Olajuwon is waiting till Chambers commits, and then he's going for the block.
Here's Chambers. Chambers came from San Diego, and so many of these Sonics with the 9 new faces have come from the CBA or other teams, especially the likes of Maurice Lucas, who came from the Lakers, and Clement Johnson, who had been with Philadelphia before going to Indiana. Guys who knew what it was like to win in the past, and the mix has worked for the Sonics.
It sure has. Blending of personalities, and I think Bernie Bickerstaff is totally responsible for that. When they use all those people, everybody feels like they're part of it.
And a blocking foul.
The foul is on Chambers.
Chambers picking up his first foul. Clement Johnson will come in, giving Lister a rest. Keep in mind, Lister suffered a broken bone in his left foot, missed the last 7 games of the regular season, and the early part of the playoffs, had to come off the bench.
His timing is still a little bit off, Dick.
A trade that helped both teams. Lister for Jack Sikma with Milwaukee. Sikma playing great ball for the Bucks. Sampson hits the turnaround.
Sampson.
And Ralph, who had 8 points in the first quarter, has scored only 6 since then. 6:53 on the clock, third period. Nate McMillan, not known for his shooting, shows why. Out of the pack, McRae. Knocked away, and Olajuwon tipped up and in by Rodney McRae. He's all over the place.
Boy, handle the ball, create an opening, and then on the missed shot, tip it in. What more can you ask?
Biggest lead for the Rockets. 7-point Bulls now at 66-59. But Dale Ellis breaks a cold spell. He has 19 to lead Seattle.
The Rockets are executing now and really playing tough on the boards.
Olajuwon posting up against Clement Johnson. Doubled with McDaniel. Great inside move and a basket, and one of the finest moves we've seen tonight.
He spun away from that double before it even developed, just like he's supposed to do. Don't let it happen. Take the shot quickly.
5:45 in the third. Chambers. And the Rockets. Good defense by Sampson on Chambers.
When you have a guard rebounding a miss like that, that's good coverage on the defensive board.
And a Seattle foul. Look how he reacted here.
On the catch, looks right away. The quick spin on Clem Johnson. He gets caught underneath, but that great athletic ability lets him squiggle the ball up and in for 2.
Clement Johnson is second.
Heat in a non-stop jam to the beat. The NBA playoffs continue Saturday on CBS Sports.
now, while we have a moment, let's go to James Brown. JB.
All right, Dick, thank you very much. You know, the Seattle Supersonics' success has enabled this organization to have the last laugh on a number of people who nowhere near thought they'd be this successful, including Red Auerbach of the Boston Celtics, who said before the season, and I quote, "It would surprise me if the Sonics finished anything but last." Well, of course, they're doing quite well, and this organization has created these fans with Red Auerbach's picture on it and a little note underneath this picture that says, "Surprise, Red." Back to you, Dick.
Well, maybe it's only the first time he's been wrong about something, Tommy.
I don't think anybody picked this ball club to be where they are, and it's no surprise to me that Red picked them to finish last. I kind of had them down there myself.
If anyone thought the Sonics would be at this point, they had to be dreaming. 5:25 remaining. Harris being guarded by Kevin Williams. And Ellis gets the rebound. 68-61 Rockets. And Williams loses the pass from Nate McMillan. The Sonics shot 58% in the first period, but since then, they've been a lowly 23%, making only 8 baskets. And as Tommy pointed out, Houston has done a tremendous job off of the rebounding area, both the offensive and defensive glass. Olajuwon. And Akeem now with 23.
And the double team never got there, and that allowed them to turn to the middle strong.
Biggest lead now. Houston keeps raising it up a notch. It's 9 points. That was Seattle's biggest lead just before the end of the first period. The Rockets have quieted this crowd. Williams looking for the foul, gets nothing, and Houston can up it to 11.
Houston has taken the Sonics out of their pattern offense.
And Akeem has been the chief tormentor. Clement Johnson on the rebound. Kevin Williams. Big basket and a foul to boot. As Lister comes back in, Johnson goes out. So Lister and Lucas both in there at the same time. And the foul was on Lucas.
His first 15.
Check that.
Dick, I am seeing real fire in the eyes of the Houston Rockets right now. Determination and real focusing on what they have to do. Their execution has been absolutely fantastic in this quarter.
Lucas's foul was his third, and Sampson on the line. Danny Young getting set to enter the game, and Nate McMillan goes out. Young from Wake Forest came from the CBA.
Danny Young versus McMillan for Seattle.
And the team on the court right now for the Sonics, Ellis is the only real scorer that they'll have. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if they go to him as much as they can.
For the first time, McDaniel and Chambers are on the bench at the same time. Rockets by 9. Lucas fighting his way in. Akeem, he has been the king of this game.
They had Lucas trying to pick up another foul on Sampson or Olajuwon, taking it to the hoop, but they outfoxed him.
Akeem now with 18 rebounds. Sampson hitting the sky hook, and the Rockets lead by 11, 74-63, and Bernie Bickerstaff wants a timeout. Home court hasn't meant much in this series, and it's not meaning much right here. Houston on a 16-5 run now. Tommy, the one position the Rockets knew they had a big edge in was the center position, and these were the numbers, average numbers, coming into this game, and Akeem Olajuwon has made it more apparent.
But he's done it at both ends. You're going to see him adjust here and just take the penetrator and then come away with a good block and the ball and get the Rockets started up the court. Now you're going to see offensively how he gets the ball quickly. They don't double him. He reads it. There's a fake double down, but he turns strong to the middle and then just overpowers Clem Johnson.
And Olajuwon not yet ready to go on vacation, and neither are the Houston Rockets, who are leading by their biggest margin, 74-63, with 3 minutes and 40 seconds to go in the third period. After one period, Seattle led by 8, and then the Rockets dominated the second and took a 4-point lead into the dressing room. And an offensive foul called against Maurice Lucas. That'll be his 4th foul, so things still go bad for the Sonics here.
When they come out of the huddle, they went to Ellis, and Lucas tried to set a good pick on Reed to spring Ellis loose, but he got called for the foul.
Lucas goes out, and Tom Chambers, who's only made 1 of his last 6 shots. So Chambers has been a quiet big 3, one of the big 3 for the Sonics. Ellis has 19, Chambers 14, McDaniel 12, but those numbers are deceiving at this point. 3:20 to go. They double Olajuwon. Tries to fight through it. 3 on the shot clock, and Sampson misses. McDaniel clears it. Is that wise to try to fight through it, or was there an open man?
He didn't make his move quick enough.
Lister fouled inside. Ed Rush. And the foul is on, Olajuwon, and that will be his 4th.
15th foul.
Every once in a while, Olajuwon tries to get aggressive. Lister had the low post position on him. He should have let him catch the ball and then try for the block. Instead, he went over the top to make the steal.
Jim Peterson will come into the ball game, and Olajuwon will get a well-deserved rest. Akeem has scored 23 points and has 18 rebounds, and you saw the replays on what Akeem has done at both ends. So he has 4 fouls. Level has 5. And we haven't seen Allen for a while, and the combination of Harris and Reed have done the job for the Rockets.
Well, Reed has really worked that ball as the point guard last year when Lucas was lost to this ball club with the drug problem. And Reed knows what he's doing, but he hasn't faced the press yet.
And with that foul, the Rockets in the penalty. Both teams are with 2:44 remaining in the 3rd. Steve Harris picked up by Ellis. Sampson keeps it alive, and a foul called against Houston. Over the top, and for Sampson, that's number 4. So 4 fouls on each of the towers.
When you play this fast-paced ball game and you face so many possessions, the percentages are you're going to get your fouls quicker, and that's what's happening to the Rockets' big guys. Here's Sampson, just came right over the top. An unhappy man. He's been playing pretty well.
So Sampson goes out, and the front line for Houston is Cedric Maxwell, Jim Peterson, and Rodney McRae. And Bill Fitch hopes he can get away with this combination right now. Fortunately, he has the advantage of what is now an 8-point lead as Chambers hits the first free throw. You saw Dale Ellis lead the game, and Kevin Williams and Danny Young are the Sonics backcourt.
Now, Peterson and Maxwell will have to produce offensively out of that low post.
All right, let's see whether the Rockets can hang on without the towers.
With Reed in the backcourt and McRae in the backcourt, they're going to get very aggressive defensively to Sonics. They're going to say, you guys can't handle that ball that well with 2 guys on it.
Well, one of them will have to be in the forecourt now, and probably will be Reed. And the foul with Kevin Williams is second. Both teams in the penalty, and McRae shooting 2 shots.
I like McRae, the quick forward, to bring the ball up against the forward. They feel that that man cannot defend against his guard-like abilities.
Although Bernie Bickerstaff told us that he feels that Kevin Williams can do a good job against McRae, not afraid to put him on there. So we'll have to watch to see whether he has Williams on McRae.
Right, Williams has been staying with Robert Reed, however. And I think what they'll do is whoever Williams is playing, they will go to the opposite man to bring the ball up, make McDaniel face it.
The lead is 9 by the Rockets. 2.5 to play in the 3rd. Olajuwon and Sampson both on the bench with 4 fouls. Chambers hits the turnaround.
Well, Maxwell doesn't have the size to stop Chambers in a low post.
And they have Kevin Williams guarding McRae right now. McDaniel's on Reed.
So they're going against McDaniels in the backcourt.
Peterson knocked away by the Sonics Houston ball.
Whoever McDaniels is guarding, that man will bring up the ball. and not the man Kevin Williams is defending against.
Reed bumping bodies with Chambers. Less than 2 minutes to go. Goaltending called against Lister, and credit the basket to Robert Reed. Under 2 minutes to play. Houston by 9. They're led by 4 at the half. They loop it to Chambers. Basket counts and a foul.
That was a classic matchup situation. A fronting, and the ball went right over the top. Maxwell couldn't deal with it. He gets out in front trying to deny Chambers the ball, but just can't go up over the top. It was a perfect pass. The weak side. Jim Peterson didn't get there quick enough.
Dave Feidel, who's been virtually inactive in the playoffs, the second-round draft pick from UTEP, replaces Peterson, who goes to the bench with 3 fouls. So Houston's front court in foul trouble here, and forcing Bill Fitch to go deep into his bench and rest actually 3 of his top 4 front court players.
Well, Dave Feidel has played a little bit of basketball for them this year, particularly when Sampson was out and then Olajuwon. So he's got some experience, but I don't know how much playoff experience.
Hardly at all. 8 on the shot clock. 78-72. McRae keeps it alive with a new clock for Houston. The Rockets lead, but the Sonics are making a run here in the final moments of the third period.
Who do they go to? There's a song here. Maxwell with 8 seconds. There's enough time on the clock. McRae off balance hits the shot. That was a big shot, Dick, because they needed that. Their inside game is not going to produce with Maxwell being guarded by Chambers.
Chambers going right back at Maxwell. Gets the bucket. Chambers with 23. 12 of them here in this third period.
They're going right at Maxwell.
There's the time remaining in the third. Harris off the glass, comes right back. And the Rockets and Sonics trading baskets. 8-point lead.
Robert Reed is doing a great job running his ball club.
Lister, free, top of the key hits. Double figures now for Lister. Difference of 5 seconds on the shot clock to the game clock. A 6-point Houston lead. And they call McDaniel for the foul on Reed.
Here's Chambers really getting himself in great position. Moves Maxwell out to receive the ball. A little up fake. Gets right in, down inside. And he's got a nice soft touch. So, I mean, he is a tough guy to defend against.
Reed and Olajuwon have been the lifesavers for Houston. Although, whenever you talk about them, Rodney McRae somehow is doing something to help the club as Dale Ellis comes back in the ball game. Ellis went ice cold, missed 9 out of 10 shots. After starting out sizzling and going to the bench is Alton Lister.
They changed the matchup situations right now. Looks like Feidel will end up guarding Chambers. And that, well, they're bringing Peterson back in for Feidel.
Peterson replaces Feidel.
Well, they got a small team out there, the Sonics.
Right, but the reason they brought Ellis in right now is for him to guard Robert Reed.
11 seconds to go, and maybe Ellis to go for the outside shot as a fan throws something on the court again. So Ellis is in the game, and they may be looking for Ellis to hit a long one. 11 seconds to go, and the Rockets trying to delay the Sonics offense. Final seconds of the third period. Double on Ellis. Chambers hits the basket at the buzzer. A 2-point shot by Chambers at the buzzer. 25 for Chambers, who's hit his last 4. That's the end of the third period. Houston 84, Seattle 78. We'll come back to Seattle after this word from your local station.
CBS Sports coverage of the 1987 NBA playoffs is sponsored by Nissan's Pathfinder, named Best 4x4 of the Year by both Four Wheeler and Four Wheel and Off-Road magazines, and by California Cooler, the real stuff.
We start the fourth period, and the Houston Rockets at one point had an 11-point lead. It's been cut to 6. Olajuwon has had a fabulous game. You look at the other important points of the game, but lately it's been Tom Chambers who scored 14 in the third period, inside and outside. And Bernie Bickerstaff knows that sooner or later you can count on at least one of the big three. Early it was Ellis, now it's been Chambers.
Ellis is going to take Reed, and Young is going to take Harris. They've got to find somebody to go to, the Rockets.
McDaniel on Maxwell, who has a world of experience in the playoffs, hits the first basket.
Good matchup right now. Maxwell being guarded by McDaniel. He's not as big as Maxwell with those long arms.
And McRae is on Ellis. They're isolating on one side. McRae staying with Ellis even in three-point territory. Chambers is doubled. Young for three, hits it. Do they call 2 or 3? Three-point shot by Danny Young. And Tommy, you talked about the fact that Bickerstaff has confidence in his three-point shooting earlier. And a steal. Peterson fell down, but Chambers overthrows Danny Young, and the Sonics missed an opportunity. It was a definite three-point basket by Young. Watch it to the left of your screen.
Boy, he's almost on the scorer's table. And a double team inside, they just kick it back out, and it can kill you if you leave those people open out there.
Harris picked up by Young. Reed inside the three-point line, misses. McDaniel to Williams. He has Ellis with him. Ellis. And it's a three-point game. Timeout, Houston. The Sonics have cut the Rockets' lead to 3. Foul trouble is playing a big role. Level has 5, but the Towers, Olajuwon and Sampson have 4. And they went to the bench with a 9-point Houston lead. It's been cut to 3. And now Bill Fitch is not taking any chances. He brings back Olajuwon and Alan Level, who has 5 fouls. So Bill Fitch, with a minute and a half gone by in the fourth, keeps Sampson on the bench, but he brings back 2 of the players in foul trouble.
And Olajuwon has to be very, very aware of not committing a dumb 5th foul. No real gamble fouls.
The Rockets did flourish with Level on the bench because of Reed's fine play. Maxwell loses it to Danny Young. 1-point game.
But Olajuwon did not go for the block.
It's a 1-point game. Houston led by 11. Akeem gets the roll and a foul.
The basket is good.
25 for Olajuwon.
They did not get down and cut off that move to the middle fast enough, the Sonics. Look at how he gets the ball. And nobody down there yet, and everybody kind of got to him, but way after the shot was released.
Lister's foul, his 4th, and Nate McMillan,
replaces Danny Young,
who is their up-tempo ball handler, comes into the game. So you have an idea of how Bernie Bickerstaff wants to play it now, Tommy.
Take good shots. If you don't have the fast break, move the ball around. Now, Chambers is going to be guarded once again by Maxwell. They did so well with that matchup. They haven't used it here.
McMillan finds Chambers. Quick shot over McRae. Air ball. Great defense by Rodney. Is there anything else he can do? There he is, filling the lane on the break. Level. Houston has not attempted a three-point shot tonight. McRae and Lister into the hands of Williams. Chambers, and they'll call the blocking foul on Level, and that may be it for him. 6 on Alan Level.
I have to see that one, Dick, because Chambers, let's see Level if he gets in position. It sure looked like it was in perfect position. Normally, a guard will get that break against the big guy. Chambers just gambled and said they'll call the 6th foul on Level.
Tom, that was a bad call, pure and simple.
It sure was. There it is again. Level way ready. And Chambers really just forced the shot. Level took it away. And for a good defensive play, he sits on the bench.
And he had 6 points, 6 assists to go with those 6 points. Chambers hit, so the burden on second-year guard Steve Harris. When he was teamed with Robert Reed, the Rockets made their good run in the 3rd period.
I think Robert Reed is a much more experienced player. He can handle the harassing defense because he's a big guard, and he can look over and still pass the ball into that low post, something that Level couldn't do.
Houston by 2. The Rockets trying to hold on for dear life. This could be their last period of play this year.
But the guy that's running the offense right now is Rodney McRae.
Reed, 4 seconds on the shot clock. Akeem. Well, he's making them from every angle tonight.
They are, by moving the ball around, they're taking the Sonics out of that double pattern and the blitzes they like to run. Akeem is allowed to go one-on-one.
28 for Olajuwon. Ellis off the screen. Ellis, 23 points. And again, it's a 2-point game with a lot of time remaining. The score. And now Reed and Ellis shove each other. Ellis committing the foul, his 3rd and 2nd team foul on the Sonics.
McDaniel replaces Chambers.
Houston has committed only 1 team foul in this 4th period. And in the shove, actually it was Ellis doing the shoving. 91-89, the Rockets lead. 6th game of the best-of-7 Western semifinal. With the upstart Sonics in front, one of the great Cinderella stories of the playoffs. And now the Sonics called for holding away from the ball. Their
The foul is on Lister.
3rd team foul, and Alton Lister with 5 fouls. And so the Sonics are in danger of losing one of their 2 centers.
And he just made a dumb foul there, just holding on to Olajuwon.
Team fouls, 3 against Seattle, 1 against Houston. Lucas gets set to come back in the game for the Sonics. Reed, long range. Rebound, Nate McMillan to Lister, who's fouled hard by Robert Reed. Not a breakaway foul, in case you're thinking about that. Just a 2-shot foul, I believe.
He just went up hard. Reed made a heck of a hustle move to get back in and make an attempt at the block. And look at the long pass up the court by McMillan. The center has to put it on the floor. And there's Reed coming in from the side, going for the ball. Hit him on the arm. It'll be a 2-shot foul.
So here's Lister.
Lister shoots 2.
So not only did the Sonics get Lister for Sigma, but they also got a couple of #1 draft picks. Sampson, who's had a long sit on the bench, coming back
Sampson
in.
replaces Maxwell.
And Maxwell goes out for the Rockets.
I must say that the Rockets weathered the storm of their Twin Towers being on the bench pretty nicely.
Their lead is 2. Lister could have tied it up. He brings Seattle to within 1 with just under 8 minutes to play in the 4th. The foul story. Level already out. Harris. He gets fouled at the baseline. Good quick move by Steve Harris there.
Whenever you are pressed, there is a vulnerability once you beat the initial part of the gamble. There's 3 men or 2 men on the ball, and Harris alertly took it to the basket like you're supposed to.
Chambers will come back. Lucas has already replaced Lister, who's on the bench with 5 fouls. And Harris is shooting. With instructions for Ralph Sampson, and we'll have to check the matchup.
This is where the experience of the Rockets, perhaps being in the finals last year, may pay off. Execution under pressure.
1 out of 2 for Harris, and it's a 2-point game, 92-90. Harris is guarding McMillan. Sampson is guarding Chambers, that familiar power forward matchup. Off the screen by Chambers is Ellis. Reed stays with him nicely. Chambers throws it up. Ellis tries to tip it in. Lucas. McDaniel outside. Well, Tommy, they did well with the Towers on the bench, but the Sonics have inexorably come back to tie the game in the 4th period at 92.
What a play by Lucas. What cool. Got the rebound, found the wide open man.
7 on the shot clock. Harris. Air ball. McRae is there. Rodney McRae with an alert basket to give Houston the lead. The Rockets led by 11 in the 3rd period. And the Sonics have come back. Chambers setting a screen for McMillan. Off the screen on the weak side is Ellis. Rebounds Olajuwon, and they're going to jump it. Tied up, and the Houston bench doesn't like that call.
Timeout.
And an official's timeout. 6:37 to go, and the fireworks are just beginning here in Seattle. Tommy, it's been a tremendous game, and Houston really playing with a tremendous amount of pressure, and you talked about their experience, but with 6 minutes plus remaining, what do you think this game will come down to? Olajuwon has really carried the burden for this club, and it's 1 against 3 in many respects.
I think it's going to come down to the outside shooting of the Rockets. I think Bernie Bickerstaff will change the defense of the Sonics to really get down there and double immediately on the catch and force the ball outside to the guards, Robert Reed and Steve Harris.
But if the Rockets depend on the outside shot, they're going to have to depend on one of their weak points to pull this game out.
That's been one of their weaknesses. Reed hit some early. Steve Harris has had a couple of flurries here, but he hasn't really mastered or shown the Sonics that he's going to hit those shots under pressure.
Whatever the Rockets do, they deserve a lot of credit when you consider the problems that have befallen the Houston club this year, losing in essence 3 backcourt men because of drug problems, and Olajuwon and Sampson were out of action for some 40 games between them.
I think the loss of those guards really affected their defense, their pressure defense. Wiggins could really play great defense in the backcourt.
Olajuwon doubled scores anyway, and of course Louis Lloyd was a big hero against the Lakers in last year's series.
Sure was offensively. But Olajuwon took that no shot great.
That's what Bill Fitz calls it.
They call it no great shot.
Chambers double. Olajuwon blocks it. No goaltending, although that's what the Sonics are yelling for.
I think Olajuwon might have got away with one here. The ball was more than halfway to the hoop. Nope. He got top of the arc. Good timing.
5 block shots for Akeem to go along with his 30 points and 19 rebounds. Chambers misses. Akeem with another rebound, his 20th of the game.
Chambers' outside game has kind of deserted him tonight, and that's what he's been relying on against Ralph Sampson.
96-92, the Rockets. Akeem is clobbered out of bounds. Houston ball. Boy, they attacked Olajuwon like he was a piece of meat in the forest.
Well, it looks like a shark down there with a hook in him. A piece of meat. Look at McDaniels and Olajuwon. They're just raking his arm. Great hustle going on. Look at the hustle at the other end. They're just bumping people off. Wow.
McRae. And he's fouled by McDaniel. The Sonics are in the penalty anyway, and McRae will go to the line and shoot 2, and McDaniel with his 4th foul.
That was not a smart foul by McDaniel. He had no chance of blocking that shot. He just hit his arm plain out.
Rodney McRae, who's been a quiet star, playing the season under a great personal burden. His 5-year-old daughter, who has an operable brain tumor. Only McRae must know what that must feel like. And you know, like Maurice Cheeks, we talk about underrated players. Sooner or later, one of these years, we won't be saying an unknown superstar about Rodney McCray anymore.
I think, as I said before, he's the most complete player of all the front court players. Olajuwon still isn't experienced reading the defenses in the passing game, and sometimes Ralph Sampson can be erratic offensively and defensively, but McCray is always there.
Houston has scored 6 in a row, and after the Sonics tied it up at 92, Houston has taken the lead to quiet the crowd with 5:36 remaining in the fourth. When you get to this level in the playoffs, there's no question that you have to go to your best. For the Rockets, that's Akeem Olajuwon.
And Olajuwon will really be tested, I think, coming down the stretch. How well he reads that defense now, or how quickly he makes that move to the hoop. He is going to have the ball in his hands most of the time. Ellis, up the other end, I think will be their prime threat to try and get him back into this. Chambers is being guarded by Sampson and has not been able to score inside against Sampson.
Chambers turnaround over Ralph. Good defense by Sampson, who gets the rebound.
They challenged Sampson, but that long arm really made Chambers change the arc of the shot.
Chambers hit his last 4 at the end of the third period, but is 0 for 5 here in the fourth period. So Sampson has helped do the clamp job on Chambers. 3 on the shot clock. Reed fires away. Sampson with a big offensive rebound, and he misses the layup. Seattle has Ellis ahead of the crowd, and Ellis scores. 98-94, and Ellis with 25. Chambers is 27. They're the big guns for the Sonics, who can wrap it up with a win here at home. And Seattle would dearly love to send it to a 7th game Saturday in Houston, and we'll be there if they do play.
As the double team takes it out of Akeem's hands, going to put it into Harris. He's got to hit it.
McDaniel clears, and now the Sonics will try to come within 2. Rockets have missed 3 in a row. The Sonics tried to go to the Chambers matchup, but Sampson has done a good job defensively on him. Here's Chambers. McDaniel picks up the loose ball. 98-96.
Accidental offense, however, Dick. Chambers really didn't get the shot going the way he wanted.
20-second timeout called by Bill Fitch.
Here's Ralph really turning him into the pack. Olajuwon cuts him off the pass, but somebody hit the handball out of his hand.
Ralph did.
And there was McDaniel picking it off the floor for the 2.
At the conclusion of the game, Tom and I will select the Miller Lite Player of the Game, and in conjunction with the award, Miller Lite will present a check for $1,000 to the National Multiple Sclerosis Society in that player's name. There is the story of timeouts and fouls to give. With 4:04 to go, Houston has the luxury. So the Rockets have McCray bringing the ball up as a point forward. They have Harris and Reed, Olajuwon and Sampson. Those are the 5 in there for the Rockets.
And they're having McCray bring the ball up against McDaniel.
4 on the shot clock. 3, Sampson. Short. And here's the fast break to Chambers. As the Sonics are releasing and getting the fast break, and they're going wild in Seattle.
You want to see some good, smart defense? Maurice Lucas, you watch him just block Olajuwon off. He gets back into the low post, but watch what Lucas does. Comes back into the play, and as the shot is taken, just ride Olajuwon right out underneath the basket, so he had no chance at the rebound. And then a quick conversion up the other end as Chambers just took off on Ralph Sampson.
The Rockets had the fast break advantage in the first half, but not in the second half. And in this fourth period, Seattle has 11 fast break points to 0 for Houston in the fourth period.
I put Alton Lister in for Maurice Lucas right now to defend against Olajuwon. I thought Lucas was doing a pretty good job.
Reed gets the layup to break the tie, 100-98. The Sonics had scored 6 straight points after trailing 98-92. Robert Reed with 16 puts Houston in front. Nate McMillan. There's McDaniel. Ties the score again. We've had 14 ties, and we're both at the century mark now with under 3 minutes to play.
They have not gone to McDaniel an awful lot on set plays. They've gone to mostly Chambers.
Dirk Minifield makes his first appearance. Got to be ice cold coming into the ball game now at point guard. Reed, a three-pointer. And a foul against Houston.
You know, when Ralph gets the ball on that side of the floor, Dick, I'm surprised he doesn't really take a little lesson from Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Just turn to the baseline and shoot the hook. He lets the ball go to the outside, and for a three-point shot that really the Rockets have been having trouble making.
So the Sonics can take the lead with 2:25 to go. Nate McMillan. It doesn't go, and it's going to be Houston's ball out of bounds. Waiting in the wings if Seattle wins are the Lakers. They'll play the survivor in any case of this series, but that could start Saturday if the Sonics can close it out here. But this issue is wide open now. 9 on the shot clock. They triple team Olajuwon, Minifield, Sampson. Olajuwon tips it in. They didn't block him out.
Well, Lister has a tendency not to put a body on somebody, to go for the rebound himself, where Lucas is really a better blockout man than perhaps Lister is.
So Olajuwon has 32 points and a time called by Bernie Bickerstaff. Will return. Tommy, you expressed surprise when Lucas, this was several sequences ago, was taken out of the game for Lister. You saw what Lucas was doing against Olajuwon with his body, and then they brought in Lister.
And he did a great job of blocking him off. Now you look at Lister, he goes for the rebound instead of really blocking Olajuwon off. Give up on the rebound yourself. You've got to keep Olajuwon off the offensive glass.
32 points for Akeem Olajuwon. He's hit his last 5 shots. Under 2 minutes to play. 102-100, and every possession is critical down the stretch now. Will we go to 7 games, or will we start the Western Finals Saturday? Chambers in the middle, double, and gets the foul, but not the hoop.
Well, that was an extremely fine fake that time by Chambers. He lifted both Sampson and Olajuwon.
His first.
Minifield with his first foul. And the next foul against the Rockets will put the Sonics into the penalty. Each team with 2 timeouts remaining, and Chambers with a chance to tie the game.
Normally, Bill Fitch keeps Minifield in the game only for spot duty, but Chambers
tonight is 11 for 12 from the line.
Nice pressure shot right here.
Our 15th tie of the game. Cool Bernie Bickerstaff. In his second year, and Bill Fitch, who knows what it's like to win an NBA title. Tie score with 1.5 minutes to go.
And Dirk Minifield, after not playing all night, has got to run this offense.
Akeem is doubled. And he scores and gets the foul. Akeem Olajuwon, double team, goes up anyway and has 34 points and puts the Rockets back up by 2.
He just found oh so beautifully the soft spot of the double. He worked his way out of the double team, split it, took that fall-away jump shot.
And Alton Lister has fouled out of the game, and so Lucas comes back in. Lister fouls out, scoring 10 points and getting 3 rebounds.
That might be a blessing in disguise, Dick. I think Lucas was doing a great job on Olajuwon.
Akeem has hit his last 6 shots from the field, and a brilliant ball game. Not about to see his team's season end. And with 1:20 remaining, it's 105-102. McMillan and Ellis Lucas, Chambers, and McDaniel, who has the ball. Chambers, short. Loose ball into the hands of Reed with 1 minute to go now. And 21 on the shot clock. McRae to Olajuwon. And the foul, no basket, according to Hugh Hollins. The Rockets claim there should be goaltending. And a conference with Ed Rush. Let's see if they change that call.
I don't think it was goaltending. He slapped it against the backboard. He did not trap it on the backboard. Let's take a look. They lay it down to him. And there he gets fouled. The ball goes off the glass.
Oh, I think that's goaltending.
Right. It was goaltending. Hit
That's
the glass.
definite goaltending.
Yep. Hit the glass, and then it was knocked away. That is definite goaltending.
Here's another angle.
And look how strong he is. Still gets the ball off the glass and hit the glass, and there's the block. That's goaltending.
They're still arguing it, and a foul as well.
And the ball was on the ground. Was the 34th minute to foul. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Apparently, they will not change the call. It'll just be a foul.
Well,
The foul is on McDaniel.
should have got the 2 points, I'll tell you, because it hit the glass and then it was blocked.
McDaniel has 5 fouls, and Bill Fitch sweating this one out. And Olajuwon on the line for 2.
Unlike the goaltending rule in the pros, Dick, unlike college, is if the ball hits the glass and then you hit it, it is goaltending. It doesn't have to be on the way down.
Points in this 4th period for Akeem Olajuwon, who had scored 15 points in the 2nd period, or 9 of his 15 in the 2nd at the time.
He has handled the double teams very effectively because he's made his move quickly to the shot.
Timeout called, and if you're looking for a hero, we were tied at 102. Akeem Olajuwon has scored the last 5 points for the Houston Rockets, who have a lead with under a minute to play. The Rockets with a 5-point lead. And Bill Fitch, who knows what it's like to come back from a 3-1 deficit, with the Boston Celtics trailing Philadelphia in the Eastern Finals in 1981. They came back and won that series en route to the NBA title. There you look, coming back from the brink. But I don't believe any team has ever won a conference semifinal down 3-1. Of course, the Rockets haven't won the series, nor have they won this game yet. There's a lot of time remaining. And 3-point shooters galore.
They sure do.
And Ellis, a 3-point shooter.
They need to get a 2 first.
Right, but if they need it. McDaniel coming in and gets the 2. The Rockets can't let him get an easy 2, though.
No, they have to make him take some time off the clock.
107-104, Minifield.
And they got to be very careful themselves of not working the clock down too far where they can't get a good shot.
Or turning the ball over with 9 on the shot clock. There's the turnover. Ellis. And the foul.
The foul is on Robert Reed. His 3rd. 2nd in the last 2 minutes. Penalty.
Here it is, Minifield running. It should be tricky, and Williams just take it right away from McMillan, and then Ellis strong to the hoop. What a play.
And the Sonics can tie it up with 25 seconds to go, and they do. What a finish. And we may have more. 25 seconds to go. Houston ball all tied up. Tommy, the interesting thing about the clock is that Seattle should get the possession again before the end of this 4th period.
With at least 1 second left. But what really is important right now is that the Rockets come up with a good shot. They can't just work the clock down and then take a haphazard shot. They have to take a shot that has a reasonable chance of getting in there. Now, if they go to Olajuwon too soon, they may be forced to the outside shot. Or if Olajuwon can get the ball with about 6 seconds and make a quick move to the hoop, they still have a chance for him to score, or if he misses, somebody to rebound to miss in.
Akeem has scored the last 7 points for the Rockets. And he's hit his last 6 shots. So he's a hot baby out there. Kevin Williams is into the ball game now, and they're making the Rockets use up a lot of that time in the backcourt, and it's McRae.
But McRae is going to run the offense right now under this situation to make sure that they get something good.
They took the ball away from Minifield after that turnover. 5 on the shot clock. Akeem, long shot. Chambers, timeout. 1 second to go, and a timeout. Look at those fans. They are in a frenzy.
You're going to see Olajuwon now. They get to the double real quick, force him to the fall away. McDaniel, both on their shooting hand, and the shot was taken with not too much time for Sampson to slip in there and get the rebound. Excellent play by Tom Chambers to get that miss and put it in his hands and call a timeout.
One second to play in the 4th period, all tied up. Bernie Bickerstaff designs the play, and they'll inbound it from midcourt.
One of the most difficult things right now is to make something happen with 1 second. Normally, it's a lob play. That's your best advantage. The time doesn't start until it hits somebody's hand. But you can also do something along the sidelines and just let the guy get the ball and shoot it. It's a Hail Mary from out there. The lob sometimes is a much more secure play. But Sampson is the biggest player on the court. He should be able to defend against the lob. And this guy, Ellis, right now, is also a man who can come into play hitting a downtown shot.
What a scene. Maurice Lucas is in there along with McDaniel, Chambers, Nate McMillan, and Dale Ellis. And McMillan will inbound right in front of our table. And Sampson, the big 7-footer, will try to distract McMillan.
You're going to make it a tough inbound play. You put your biggest man on the inbounder. He's not going to have much time to see anybody.
1 second. And we go to overtime.
Well, if Lucas could have handled that cleanly, it might have worked.
OT in Seattle, knotted at 107. We're going into a 5-minute overtime session. Dick Stockton and Tom Heinsohn enjoying ourselves immensely. And wherever you're watching this, if you're up late at night, I know you must feel it's worth it to see a great game like we're seeing. Tommy, Olajuwon has been the big gun. They went to him. He scored the last 7 points in the 4th period. And the Rockets maintained, or the Sonics did, the tie and almost won it at the end if they could have gotten the clean pass. What do we look forward to at the top here?
Well, the team that gets out first certainly has an advantage in the overtime. But what I think the Rockets have to be aware of is continue to push the ball at the defense. If they got some easy baskets, they'll be better off for it. I'm sure the Sonics will try and make some fast break things happen. The Rockets have slowed down that aspect of their game. They have not gotten easy baskets. They've been forced to the low post game with the double teams.
McDaniel has 5. Olajuwon and Sampson each have 4. And McDaniel and Olajuwon pointing fingers. We haven't had any outbreak in this game, but we've come awfully close on several occasions. Now in the overtime, each team has 3 fouls to give, and each team gets 3 timeouts.
That's just a little verbal intimidation, trying to get Olajuwon to get upset Look at this. McDaniel taking on Olajuwon. That's heavy-duty stuff.
Cedric Maxwell is in the game with Reed, McCray, Sampson, and Olajuwon for the Rockets. It's Dale Ellis, Nate McMillan, Xavier McDaniel, Tom Chambers, and Maurice Lucas for the Sonics. So a lot of experience out there, particularly Lucas and Maxwell.
And they're going to have two forwards playing guards right now, McCray and Reed. They're going to have a tremendous size team in there, the Rockets.
But not quickness.
Not quickness.
Double on Ralph. Lucas. He's won a world title with Portland. Chambers was open. And a two-shot foul. The last time the Sonics have had the lead came with 5 minutes to go in the second period at 48-46.
That's a strong move by Chambers. He just had Sampson leaning the wrong way in order to protect against the two. Ralph fouled him.
5 fouls on Ralph Sampson.
Position 2 for Seattle.
Earlier it was Houston with the fast break, and then Seattle got it going. And Chambers can give the Sonics their first lead since the second period. Chambers having a big night from the line is 13 of 14. Two, and it's 108-107 in favor of the Sonics. McCray.
Now they'll be able to gamble off Maxwell because he's not a real good outside shooter, and neither is McCray, so Reed will have to do all the outside shooting.
Tommy Lucas and Olajuwon bodying each other. Double team, and Akeem goes around and gets the basket and draws the foul.
Olajuwon.
What a great move baseline against the double team as Houston takes the 1-point lead.
They take the middle move away from him, but they don't protect the baseline. They cover up his feet, but they still allow enough room for Olajuwon to spin to the baseline and then take it strong. And Chambers just came too late to try and help.
39 points now for Akeem. 9 of 10 from the line. And Olajuwon's 40th point of the game has given the Rockets a 3-point lead. He has been tough down the stretch.
He sure has been. He's been virtually their whole offense.
Chambers, short jumper, ties the game at 110.
And they're going to hit their main man, Tom Chambers.
Chambers has 4 points in the overtime. Olajuwon has 3. They have been the focal points. Sampson, good pass from Olajuwon, and he's fouled.
That was a perfect read of the defense by Olajuwon. After that double team, boy, he just looked right through it and spotted Ralph Sampson. Of course, Ralph is an awful big target on the other side of the court. Here he is handling the double team. Look at them surround him. He turns, faces up, commits himself, and there's Sampson that Chambers had lost for just an instant, and Chambers ends up fouling Sampson deliberately.
Ralph Sampson has not scored a point since the third period.
But they haven't really been going to him. All been Olajuwon. He hasn't had the ball in his hands that much.
Well, he just had 2 chances there.
Okay, 2 free throws.
So Seattle.
But he got the cold finger.
McDaniel gets a pass inside and traveling call. McDaniel. Too many steps.
And a surprise move by the Rockets that time to put the trap on with all these big people on the court. I'm sure the Sonics didn't expect it.
That's the time remaining. We're in overtime, tied at 110, and Reed missing Lucas with his second rebound of overtime, and the Sonics can take the lead if they score.
But off the rebounds, they're not looking to push it up and create perhaps an easy fast break opportunity.
Which they should against a slower Rocket team.
That's right.
Chambers setting a screen, fighting through is McCray. 6 on the shot clock. Chambers misses, tip, miss, Olajuwon. And a foul called against the Sonics as they try to smother Olajuwon on the outlet pass. And the foul against Maurice Lucas, his 5th foul.
Third team
foul. And the Rockets and the Sonics tied at 110. Lucas goes out and Clement Johnson comes back in.
Well, he does not move his feet quite as fast as Lucas does guarding Olajuwon. But he's got a beefier body to lean on Olajuwon with.
A better shot blocker. Olajuwon inside gets the basket. So Akeem has scored 5 points in the overtime to give Houston the lead and a 42-point game for Olajuwon. And the Sonics call a timeout. 2:22 remaining, and the Rockets lead by 2. Where would they be without Akeem, who has had a brilliant game tonight? Battle with Houston trying to hang on and force a 7th game of this Western semifinal. If they do, we'll be at the Summit on Saturday at 3:30 for the 7th and deciding game. Or if Seattle can win this game, it'll be the Sonics against the Lakers in game 1 of the Western final. And then on Sunday, 1 o'clock, either game 7 between the Bucks and the Celtics or game 1 between the Pistons and the Celtics, 1 o'clock Eastern time. Akeem Olajuwon has scored his team's last 12 points. 7 points to finish regulation time and 5 points in overtime, and has 42 points, 22 rebounds, a career playoff high in both categories for Olajuwon.
And I'll tell you, he has defeated that double-teaming defense that Bernie Bickerstaff has used mainly by making the move on the catch.
Looking for Ellis off the screen, and Ellis ties it up.
Now, Ralph Sampson just did not switch out and help on Ellis after Reed got picked off.
2 minutes to go. We're in overtime.
2 minutes.
And this is where we started the game, and this is where we started OT. Tied. Olajuwon. Sampson tries to keep it alive, and the rebound to Chambers.
Trying to lob one to Sampson, but Chambers did an outstanding job of denying him the position for the lob.
Chambers setting a screen, Nate McMillan. Chambers gets it back, defended by Sampson with 4 seconds. Double team and a good one. And they tie it up, and Maxwell made that play for the Rockets.
Here's Chambers guarding Ralph Sampson, really denying that position. They're all over the passer, so it's going to be a tough lob pass. They actually have to turn him down. Chambers giving no ground whatsoever to Sampson, and Olajuwon forced to take a shot with 2 men in his face.
The Rockets will call a timeout after Cedric Maxwell doubled nicely on Chambers and created the situation. And we'll take a break as well with that much time remaining in the first overtime of our Game 6 Western semifinal. What a great revival of basketball interest in the Pacific Northwest, and the Seattle Sonics coming out of nowhere in the playoffs. And Bernie Bickerstaff, who has led the team, and he told us today, Tommy, what Casey Jones told him. Be yourself. Don't be a phony. Players will know it if you're not yourself.
Well, he played assistant coach for a lot of good coaches, but I think the soundest advice is what Casey did tell him, and he's been doing exactly that. And he's a guy who really treats players as people, as a live person, not just a basketball player.
We have a jump ball. There's the timeout story. Houston still has 1 foul to give, which could come into play. Chambers will be jumping against Olajuwon. Houston has it with 1:23.
Gray's going to be under the gun. Ellis is not really that good a defender, but they're going to match up with McRae and Ellis.
Akeem has scored the last 12 points the Rockets have scored. Rebound Lucas. Outlet to McMillan. 2-on-1 break. McDaniel. And McMillan keeps it alive with a new clock and under a minute to play.
That was great defense by Reed to cut off the layup.
Sampson knocks it out of bounds as McDaniel made a careless high pass. And the Sonics were fortunate, and now Bernie Bickerstaff wants to talk it over again timeout with 53 seconds remaining in overtime and 18 seconds remaining on the 24-second clock.
Here you see the long outlet pass that starts the fast break. But you watch Reed, he's got both of them. And then he goes and cuts off the angle and just makes McDaniel take the pull-up shot, not a true layup. They do come up with the rebound, but Reed sure did his job on stopping that 2-on-1 fast break.
18 seconds on the clock. And Seattle has the ball. And basically, down the stretch, Tommy, it's been Akeem for Houston, and it has been Chambers, basically, for Seattle.
Well, Chambers has a little versatility to his game. He can put it on the floor and drive to the basket. Sampson's got 5 fouls, and he may be a little reluctant to foul out. But what has set up his ability to drive Tom Chambers is hitting his outside shot, which he has not done so effectively in this ball game. So Sampson has to go rush at him. I think Ellis might be a pretty good guy to go to right now. Coming off a pick, get a free shot.
This is a team, the Sonics, that could, believe it or not, end up with a lottery pick in this year's draft. And the lottery, of course, coming your way Sunday at halftime of our game, and you'll see it on CBS Live. If the New York Knicks don't have one of the first 3 picks, the Seattle Sonics will have a lottery pick this year in the deal that sent guard Gerald Henderson to New York. So an up-and-coming team could get richer if they get a break. In New York, they're hoping not.
Now let's see if they can come up with a wide-open shot. Ellis is furthest away from the ball at the foul line, and may try and pick him to the ball.
18 seconds on the shot clock. We're tied at 112 in overtime with that much time remaining. Ellis.
He didn't set up the pick properly. He didn't take Reed far up, under enough so that Lucas could pick him off.
And now Houston with a chance to take the lead, and 15 on the clock for them.
And that's an illegal defense by the Sonics, and they're not calling it.
Reed, scoop shot goes for Robert Reed.
They double-teamed Olajuwon without the ball, and it was never called.
Chambers ties it up again and draws the foul.
The foul is on Robert Reed. His first in the last 2 minutes. Chambers will go to the line. 1 for Seattle.
That's what you call a finish to a fast break. Chambers has really advanced up the court, and he's on the fly. And once he's up in the air, he goes way over the head of Robert Reed and crams it through. Let's take a look at Reed's basket on the play before, after the free throw.
He can put the Sonics in front. 115 to 114, and Chambers has scored 6 points in the OT. 15 seconds remain, and here's how Houston took the lead.
Robert Reed just slithered right in there against McMillan and had nothing but nobody in there, as there was confusion between McDaniels and Lucas as to who was going to play Olajuwon underneath, and that allowed for the opening.
Each team has 1 timeout remaining. Tom Chambers, who has scored 37 points, the MVP of the All-Star game. And at the time when we were here in Seattle, we said it's going to be his thrill of a lifetime. How little we knew, huh?
What a fiery ball game. A team in Seattle finding its personality in the playoffs, really identifying with a hustle, tough type of coach, a style of play that just fits into their personalities. And the Houston Rockets right now, who are showing that they are made of finer stuff, and they overcame some big hurdles in this ball game, with Sampson and Olajuwon being on the bench for long periods of time.
Here is Robert Reed, who is celebrating his basket. And then Chambers is sneaking down court.
Well, I don't think the teammates were. He was celebrating too much. He was in position, but somebody else might have been celebrating because that's not Robert Reed's man, Tom Chambers. That's Sampson's man.
Steve Harris has come in for the Rockets.
They want another outside shooter in there besides Reed.
15 seconds to go in overtime.
I think they're still going to go to Olajuwon.
Sonics by 115 to 114. They have already begun their double on him.
They've got to get the ball so that he can get a shot and then they can get a rebound.
Reed goes long. Sampson, the rebound, and a foul with 5 seconds to go, and Ralph Sampson with a very big offensive rebound for the Rockets.
The foul is on Chambers.
But he missed his last 2 free throws, Tommy, and hasn't scored in eons.
But they never went to the inside game. They went directly to Robert Reed. He front rims it, and there's Sampson just sitting inside Chambers, who didn't block him out. He was fouled. It'll be a 2-shot foul.
Maxwell comes into the ball game for defense when they go the other way as Harris goes out. Sampson, no points in the 4th quarter or overtime. He's missed his last 2 from the line, 4 for 6 in the game. And a big one for Ralph Sampson. Ties the score at 115.
That shows me what he's made of, boy. That was a precious shot. Everybody in this building up screaming at him.
Olajuwon gets the rebound. And we're going into double overtime.
At the end of the first overtime, Sonics 115.
Do you believe this?
Rockets 115.
Do you believe this? What a game.
Rimmed it rather, and Olajuwon had a chance on a rebound. That's a pretty tough rebound to get. Had to take the fall away. Nobody gained possession, and it goes out of bounds as the clock ran out. Now there's Ralph Sampson's face. I will tell you, that is one of the pressure times of anybody's career, shooting a free throw to win a championship or any semblance of a championship in a playoff, and every round they consider a championship. There is the rebound by Olajuwon and took the fall away. And Lucas once again with a good position on blockout kept it out of the hands of the Rockets.
The foul story. McDaniel and Lucas have 5. Sampson has 5 for Houston. Olajuwon, Sampson, Reed, Maxwell, and McRae. The Sonics have McMillan, Lucas, Chambers, Ellis, and McDaniel. McDaniel. Sonics by 2. Upon a time, Houston had an 11-point lead. Sampson misses. McDaniel ahead of the field. A block and a great play by Robert Reed saved the basket.
It looked like McDaniel had clear sailing out there, but Robert Reed just hustled. And watch this play right on the ball, stripped him clean. Beautiful.
31-year-old Robert Reed raced up court. Chambers. And a foul called against the Rockets. A loose ball foul. Cedric Maxwell. Only his first and the first team foul. And McMillan will inbound.
Houston right now thinking, boy, we had a shot at it. We got to play some good defense right now.
McDaniel open right of the key short. And there is Maxwell racing down court to tie it up. And Tommy, if Houston wins this game by 2 points, they ought to give the game on a platter to Robert Reed for saving an easy basket.
He sure did, and not on just one occasion, too. He stopped McDaniel on a prior trip up the court at overtime.
Tied at 117. Chambers blocked by Olajuwon. Into the hands of McCray. Akeem with a short shot.
And they got fouled from behind.
And the basket good and the foul.
Rodney McCray under total control. They looked up the court. He pushed it hard at the defense. Here they're sending Chambers into the defense. Look at the Venus flytrap surround. They gobble him up. The shot block. And here he comes up the other end. And watch Chambers just push him a little nudge from behind. That made him miss that shot, but he goes back and gets it, puts it in and gets fouled.
And a three-point play and a career high for Akeem Olajuwon in any game. 45 points has given the Rockets a three-point lead, 120 to 117. We still got to go back to Robert Reed saving a basket in the second overtime. Lucas working against Akeem. And goaltending called against Sampson. And Lucas gets credit for the basket, and the lead is 1 for Houston.
And he almost made Olajuwon commit his 5th foul with some good fakes.
Rockets by 1. Second overtime here in Seattle. In a frenzied battle. Game 6 of the Western Semifinals. Akeem goes strong to the basket and gets the basket in the foul, and there's no stopping him now. 47 points for Akeem Olajuwon.
That was a good read of the double team by Ralph Sampson, too, to create this opening for Olajuwon.
Second team.
And Maurice Lucas is fouled out of the game.
And
Number 6 for Lucas.
That's a mighty important player to lose right now because he is so smart in blocking out and playing defense. Clem Johnson not quite as quick a foot. Big numbers.
He throws up an air ball on the free throw.
Timeout, Seattle.
Only his second miss from the line. It's 122-119. 2 minutes gone by in overtime. Second overtime in Seattle. We were tied at 107 in regulation. Dale Ellis. And it's 122 to 121. Ellis has 32 points tonight.
That's the man I'd be going to if I were the Sonics. Coming off picks, Robert Reed is tired. He's going to have trouble fighting through the picks.
Rockets by 1, Maxwell. And they call the foul against the Sonics. Looked like a runaway express train going into the hoop.
That was one intelligent play by Maxwell. When you get in a key situation, make the team foul you. He just blows by into the defense, and he's got that wiggly, squiggly rubber body that makes you look like he gets fouled every time he takes a step.
1 for 2 at the line for Maxwell, who was acquired from the Clippers. Played 46 games. He's played for Bill Fitch before in the big one. 1 out of 2, Chambers.
Just can't make the second free throw.
Sampson had a chance to put the Rockets in front at the end of the first overtime. Here's McDaniel. And the Sonics lead. Check it, tie it up at 123.
And they use McDaniel coming off a pick on Maxwell. He has trouble fighting through those picks.
123 to 123. Winding down at 2 minutes to go in second overtime. Olajuwon, tough shot, falling off the court. Akeem Olajuwon.
No, good shot. I heard Bill Fitch say so.
Akeem has scored 7 points in the second overtime and has 49 in the game. Ellis comes back with 2 to tie it up. What a game.
He loves the pressure, Ellis. Get it to him.
Maybe we'll play till the morning, and then everyone who watched the morning show can see the end of this one. 1:25 all. 4 on the shot clock. Robert Reed. McDaniel clears. And the Sonics looking to take the lead again.
Supersonics.
Timeout, Seattle. The Rockets had a 3-point lead. But the Sonics have come back.
You're going to watch Akeem now come right in, spins into the double, then forces away. And look at McDaniel with that good lead. Bothered him. But are you kidding me? Nothing's going to bother Olajuwon tonight.
49 points for Olajuwon, 23 rebounds, and 6 block shots. But right now, all eyes are on the Seattle Sonics, who have fought back to tie it up here. And there's Dale Ellis, who has scored 34. Chambers has scored 37. McDaniel 24. And Saturday, the action continues. Either game 7 of this one. And I think we're about into game 7, aren't we?
Pretty close to it.
Or game 1 of the Sonics and the Lakers. That's Saturday.
Here's Ellis coming off the pick, and a good pick set so that Reed was just a count too late. And Ellis, a quick shooter. You got to get to him like now. I think it's there for saying, who should we go to?
That'll be one of the 3 guns.
One of the 3 guns. And McDaniel has been able to lose Maxwell. That might not be a bad matchup to go to on the pop-out. I don't think they should try the inside game. I think they should go to their medium-range good jump shooters like McDaniel or Ellis coming off a pick.
McDaniel has hit 11 of 16 for the game. So he's hit a good percentage, Tommy, in case they want to use that pop-out play. 16 seconds remain on the shot clock in the second overtime. And this crowd is fresh. We're not, and neither are the players.
You're always fresh.
10 seconds on the shot clock. And Reed causing all kinds of problems for the rookie McMillan. 5 seconds, and Ellis. This is the shot. Loose ball into the hands of Ellis. Stripped away. Diving is Robert Reed. But it's going to be Sonics ball with 56 seconds to go and 23 on the shot clock.
What a move by Robert Reed. I mean, that's total hustle. And you can see that's what makes champions. Plays like that. He didn't come up with the ball, but he sure gave it the effort.
The shot clock shows 23 seconds. McDaniel inbound.
They did not come away with a good shot that time.
Baseline, Ellis blocked. Second effort.
Ellis. Timeout, Houston.
Timeout, Rockets. Dale Ellis with 36. He was persistent.
You're going to see a good play now as Ellis gets into the low post, but they block his shot. Even as quick as he shoots it, they were right on it, and he gets it back and puts it back in. I mean, that's hanging tough when you need it. Beautiful bounce pass along the baseline, but look at Rodney McRae right there on Olajuwon, and then he uses his body to shield off Olajuwon. They might have called a foul on Olajuwon on that play.
Tommy, isn't it phenomenal the way this Sonic team, 9 new guys, CBA refugees, 1 rookie, a blend of veterans, are showing the kind of poise. They showed it against Dallas. They're showing it against the defending Western Conference champions. The Sonics have no fear. They go into the playoffs with no fear, and they play marvelous basketball.
I think that's directly attributable, of course, to Bernie Bickerstaff, who has allowed them to express themselves on the court. He has not a drill sergeant type of coach. You can make you move. He doesn't really second guess you. He encourages people to do things. So now they don't look over their shoulder when in pressure situations. They just take the shot that they think they ought to take.
Houston has 2 fouls to give, and the Rockets trailing by 2 and 52 seconds to go in second overtime. Ralph Sampson has scored 19, playing with 5 fouls. But look at those numbers for the high scorers.
Boy, there have been some big numbers, but Ellis made a big play. Now, the last time the Rockets came up the court, Reed took the shot, and they didn't go to Olajuwon. Tough press situation now. They're going to let Sampson bring it up against Chambers.
And now Kevin Williams
in there to harass McRae.
And Bickerstaff said he's not afraid to put Williams on him. And he's doing it in pressure situation. Here's Reed popping out with 9 seconds. Long rebound. Maxwell gets it. He used his big reach to hold off the Sonics. That's years of experience to get the offensive rebound.
He's a master at that.
22 seconds to go. Olajuwon trapped. Sampson is open. Rebound, McDaniel. 15 seconds to go.
And they can run out the clock, Dick.
Ellis. 7 seconds. The Rockets had their chances.
They had more than enough chances to win this thing. Clement Johnson can ice it. He makes these 2.
They're up by 3.
A little bit different when you're shooting free throws and the crowd is cheering for you.
Won the NBA title in 1979 and reached the finals the year before. This is their first playoff experience in 3 years. Who would have ever figured they would knock off the Dallas Mavericks, who had their best season ever, and then come with it now 5 seconds of eliminating the defending conference champions and going up against the Lakers in the Western Final.
They call the timeout.
We gotta make a 3-point shot in order to tie the basketball game. We're gonna knock this down, so we got no problem on that. Okay? They have a timeout remaining. They got 1 left. We got 2. Don't get that move right there. If we have any trouble getting the ball in, we can call a timeout. We got 2 timeouts left.
They're up by 4 with 5 seconds to go.
Because Bill Fitch called a timeout to freeze
Isolate
Clement Johnson. And this crowd right here is going to cheer Clement Johnson right into making the second one. I got a feeling they'll pick the ball up and make it go in.
The Rockets' only hope is if Clement Johnson misses and they hit a 3-point play to go into a 3rd overtime. Here is Clement Johnson on the line to try to give the Sonics a 4-point lead, 5 seconds away from moving into the Western Conference Finals against the mighty Lakers. And the Rockets still have that shot. Timeout, 4 seconds to go, and they're going to have to go for 3. The Rockets are 3 of 21 from 3-point range in this series.
That is not their The outside shot from three-point land. Robert Reed, Harris can do it. Level could do it, but he's fouled out. Anderson is also a potential three-point shooter, but he hasn't even worked up a sweat.
Their best man hasn't hit one yet. But the Rockets have a whisper of hope because Clement Johnson didn't convert that second free throw. So it's not over with 4 seconds remaining. This game has taken 3 hours and 20 minutes. And the way the game has been, it feels like it was 10 minutes.
You know, no matter who wins this ball game, the next ball game, whether it be between these two teams or with the Sonics and the Lakers, are really going to have an effect because this team, if the Sonics survive this thing, will be a very tired ball club emotionally as well as physically.
The guy who did it against Dallas, Ellis. And now we'll see what the Rockets have in store. They're out of timeouts, out of everything, unless they can hit a three-point shot.
The way this game is going, I wouldn't count on them missing it.
And Richard Anderson is in the ball game, a 6'10" forward who can hit the long-range shot.
Boy, what a place to put him in the ball game now. I mean, he didn't want to take his uniform off to get in this thing right now. He's under the gun. But he can shoot it from out there.
All right. Reed is a threat. Harris is a threat. Anderson is. And now the Sonics, seeing Anderson come on the court, decide to use one of their 2 remaining timeouts.
They just wanted to see the alignment they were going to use to try and break those guys loose for the outside shot. They got a good look at it, so they know that 2 guys will be picking and the other 2 guys will be coming to the ball, and maybe it'll be a pass over the top to the weak side to get that man free, and that man might be Anderson. Now, one of the things right now is when they line up in this action right here, 2 ball players will come to the ball most likely, and then 2 ball players will come back over to this side of the court, and they will look more than likely, if you activate the play, you will find out that maybe Anderson will pop weak and be open on the weak side, and he might be the guy that ends up with the shot.
Well, during the season from three-point range, Robert Reed was 33%, hitting 53 shots. The rest of the team that the Rockets have on the floor totaled 5 three-pointers during the season, 4 of them by Anderson. So now you know why Anderson got the call in this 11th hour by Bill Fitch.
But what a precious spot to put him. And certainly the Sonics know that he's a pretty good outside shooter. But you want to really charge and deny the man the inbound pass, and sometimes you leave yourself weak defensively to the furthest man away from where the ball is being inbounded. And that guy, I think, is going to be Anderson.
He played in Italy the last 2 years, originally with the Clippers, also played with Denver. He may or may not take the shot. 4 seconds to go. You'll see it unfold here in Seattle as everyone on their feet. Capacity crowd. Anderson for 3. It's over. Angeles for the Seattle Sonics as their Cinderella playoff journey continues into the Western Finals against the Los Angeles Lakers. And it will all start Saturday at 3:30 Eastern Time as the Sonics win a classic in double overtime over the Houston Rockets, 128 to 125, in a game they'll be talking about for years in NBA playoff annals.
And tonight's big win over Houston just lifted the Sonics into the Western Conference Finals. They will face Magic, Kareem, and the LA Lakers next. Don't forget the Sonics travel to the Forum this Saturday.
What?
For their first confrontation with the Lakers. You can follow Sonic action live
Tommy,
on Channel 7.
I don't think any more words can express the kind of game we saw here tonight.
It was truly an emotional game. I thought the Rockets played outstanding basketball, and the Sonics were equal to the challenge, and they came up with the big play. Both teams had chances to win it in regulation or at least in the first overtime, but really great defense did it.
As James Brown has Bernie Bickerstaff with him. Let's go to JB.
All right, Dick, thank you very much. Bernie, 12 years you waited for something like this, but now, as cool as you've been in those 12 years, have you ever seen anything like this?
Oh, boy, this had to be a great basketball game. Hell, if this doesn't help the ratings, I don't know what will. But I thought that was a great basketball game. Houston played a great game under duress and a lot of adversity. They played well, and we just hung in there and persevered, and it paid off for us.
Dick and Tommy had talked during the game about how a lot of your moves are made from the gut. Do you have any gut remaining?
Well, I got a little fortitude left, but not much. And basically what we were talking about is that after having 82 games or playing 82 games with a particular team, you get that feeling in terms of when your players are ready and when they aren't ready, and that's the feeling you have to go with that gut feeling.
Now, I know you want to enjoy this, but Bernie, do you ride the crest of this going into the Lakers series, or are you concerned about being emotionally and physically drained after such a trying series?
All I'm concerned about is relishing this for a while, and we'll let L.A. take care of that at a later time.
Congratulations, Bernie.
Thank you, James.
All right, back to Dick and Tommy.
Thank you very much, JB. And our Miller Lite player of the game has to be, in a losing cause, a sensational effort for Akeem Olajuwon. Look at those numbers. Career highs in points and rebounds. And Miller is proud to present a check for $1,000 to the Multiple Sclerosis Society on behalf of Akeem Olajuwon, who did everything he could do. So, for Tom Heinsohn and James Brown, I'm Dick Stockton saying so long from the Seattle Center Coliseum, where the final score in 2 overtimes, Seattle 128, Houston 125.